You mean as far as like trying to get into marketing, trying to get successful, like we all were 15, 16 years ago, being like, how the
just
fuck
as a
do I do this?
just
Yeah.
as a general rule. I mean, in anything that you're marketing, it doesn't matter. Anything that where somebody's trying to better themselves, the hardest thing to overcome is that own person's self-doubt
Yep.
because they will. So like in your case, let's say they spun around, this guy didn't work, this girl didn't work, they didn't work. At some point you start to think that, okay, I believe this can work, but I'm such a loser, it's just not going
Yep.
to work for me. And I'm not going to do it because I don't want to verify and validate the fact, this loserdom, that, it's
And
going
I have an adage on that, which is if you never try, you never fail, right? And so the reason a lot of people
Right.
never try is because I think they can be like, I could totally do that, but if they ever try, they might find out they can't, right?
So-
And that's the terrifying part.
and that's a real internal struggle that we all deal with. Everyone deals with it. And especially, when I'm writing copy and I'm really proud of an offer and it finally goes live, if it crashes and burns, that's a huge hit to my ego. And for anybody out there that says that that's never happened to them, they're a fucking liar. It happens to everybody.
And here we go. Here we go. Welcome to the Chris Haddad Show, along with Josh Rosenberg and Brad Howard. I have no idea what this episode is going to be like or what we're going to talk about. I just thought it'd be funny to get two good friends of mine who have been in internet marketing for a long time together and get drunk with them for an hour and see what the fuck happens.
Oh.
So Josh and Brad, welcome. Hello.
Hey, thank you, Chris. Long time listener, first time caller. Thanks for having me.
yeah. What a shit show this is going to be.
Well, are you already pre-drunk? Like you just sent us a picture of the beers, so and it is like 5 o'clock where you are. So
Yeah. Well, the thing is in certain aspects, I'll cruise on some beer and things like that because shit's stressful sometimes. And
yeah.
I'm not on pills or anything like that. You know what? This will be an interesting thing to talk about. How many people do you think in our industry are actually chemically enhanced in some way, shape, or form to get through the day?
Bare minimum 110%.
Are you including
prescription drugs, Xanax?
Every single person.
Anything you put in your body that's going to augment you in a better way.
I'm drinking bourbon right now and I'm at work. So I would
more than that, pretty much everybody has their one brand of nootropics that they swear by. I know that's nothing, that's not
I don't do that shit.
Doing rails of Adderall or anything, but that's still, it's a chemical enhancement.
Most people in our business are crazy in one way or another, right? Like it's like what I always liked about our business, because we've all been in this for over a decade, is it's kind of like the island of misfit toys, right? Like everybody I know who's really successful in this kind of failed or just didn't fit or whatever else. Like I got fired from every job I ever had. Brad, I know you were in aerospace or something. Josh, I know you used to punch people in the face for a living, but
something like that.
Well, he still does and takes their money. So, that's how he lives in New York when, his high ass fucking super cock high rent prices and shit.
No, he doesn't pay high rent. He has rent control.
Josh we know this, but we weren't going to say that. You know what I mean?
No, of course. My next door neighbors, I just found out that my next door neighbors, who I can't fucking stand, they're moving out in a few months. The rent for them, for an identical apartment to mine, going up to $6,000 a month.
And you're paying like 1,500 or something, right? Or some crazy shit like that.
Right around there, yeah, a little bit more, like 17.
Yeah, because his family's been there since Nam.
Yeah,
you got it
pretty much.
There has to be a benefit for repeat customers, that long. Josh, how old are you? Like 40 years old, I think. 40.
Yeah. My folks moved in 2 years before I was born, so in '79 they moved in. I got grandfathered into some sweet laws, so I'm never fucking leaving this place.
I remember being there in your apartment, Josh, and you were showing me your door and how didn't you tell me a story about how at one point after your mom passed, I think it was, that the landlord tried to break into your apartment to find the contract that would let you stay there with rent control or something like that?
Yeah. This was literally like 2 days after she passed, and I'm here I have my closest friends around me. They're there keeping me company, making sure I'm okay. Dude, homeboy tries to break in, and I just, I'm sitting here in my living room. The front door is up 6 stairs and down a small hallway. I hear this. I run up, and to get to the front door, you pass the kitchen. So I grabbed the fucking cleaver that I use when I'm chopping bones, and I just stormed the door like the fucking Capitol. I was like, I am not in the mood for this horse shit tonight. The dude just ran away.
So was that the beaver cleaver?
Oh my God.
Pretty much, yeah. I'm not redneck enough like you, but
No.
fucking-
Brad is the ultimate redneck, but I'm loving like seeing Brad's background right now is these very froofy looking high end curtains, which really
oh
don't
my
really-
God, I went
don't
down
really
to
fit
Brad's
the
house a
person
few
I know all
months
that
ago.
well.
I went down to his house a few months ago, and it was complete culture shock. This guy's got a go-kart track, and in his basement, it's a fucking like professional grade haunted house that he has up year round.
Oh God, yeah, we don't.
Man,
I
you got to
mean,
spend that money on something. Jeez.
yeah, dude. Shit, these Halloween parties cost like 30 grand. Yeah, at the end of the day, man, like
It's more than a lot of weddings, dude. Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's like once we really start getting into it, and you're not really, I don't really like pay attention to it. You know, I just kind of eyeball it, so to say. I just know what's going out,
Dude.
and I'm afraid to spreadsheet that shit.
Here's the funniest thing. So coincidentally enough, a good friend of mine who I've known since high school, I've known this kid 25 years.
Yeah.
He just happens to be in North Carolina for a Rolling Stones concert that same night, that same weekend.
Yeah.
And they're like 45 minutes away. So Brad was like, yeah, invite your buddy and his friend over, because he was there visiting a friend also. So they come over and we do a tour of the haunted house, and Brad's girl Lo, she just takes off, she hides, she waits at the right second. And my friend, his buddy, he doesn't expect anything. She just comes out and scares him, and he nearly pees himself. He just screams like a girl.
Well, that was the thing. That was the thing about the haunted house, is like we actually had actors while it was going on.
Oh my God, dude.
Oh,
Wow.
dude, it was people, like we had people walking by like, fuck that shit. I'm never doing that again, ever. Like that was the scariest shit I've ever. I mean, because and that's the funny thing. People would have to go through 2 or 3 times because there was just so much detail in there that you missed because you're
Oh my
so
God.
fucking scared.
Yeah.
The first time around, so you miss the baby like sucking on whatever, or you miss my T-shirt, as I'm getting slaughtered.
Oh yeah, definitely. That sounds
But
fun.
it's a blast. We're gonna skip this year,
And come back even stronger next year.
Well,
Yeah.
that same weekend, Brad and I, we needed to catch up, and just wanted to talk about what's going on, everything. So he gives me some mushrooms, waits about 30 minutes, and he says, let's go have a seat inside the haunted house. He wanted to try and scare the shit out of me.
Welcome to the Chris Haddad Show. It's a marketing podcast where we talk about doing mushrooms at haunted houses. Here's a question I want to ask you guys. When did we meet originally? It was a long time ago. I know we all met through the Seduction Syndicate, which was or still is, the gathering of pickup artists and relationship advice people kind of having their own little email group. Was it at like some mastermind or something, or where did we first kind of get to know each other?
It was
The very first Clickbank exchange.
Oh,
So
okay.
it was either that, or you remember how we had that event that Brad put on in Austin, way, and we took that group picture, and Susan.
Yeah.
Brad, and we
Yeah,
took-
totally. It's a good picture. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, dude, there's like it's funny because you say that, is that all of us have essentially grew up together.
Yeah.
I mean, there was 30 people in this picture.
Yep.
And I would say half of them, at least. I mean, I haven't viewed a picture.
It's been a while since I looked at it. Yeah.
Yeah. But I would say half of them are doing very, 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 very well.
Yep.
I mean, you've got some absolute fucking killers in that photo.
Yeah.
You guys, the
Yeah.
both of you have
Yep.
Mark Ling,
Yep.
Dave Miz, who's gone to do really good things. You've got some people that, because
You got Ryan.
I'll say, yeah.
Kowalski.
I mean,
Yeah.
Ryan Kowalski, the guy bought a bank. From
Did he
what
buy
I've
Vin?
heard,
So Ryan Kowalski
from what I
also knows
heard-
Vin Montello is his stage name that he
Vin
did.
DiCarlo.
Vin DiCarlo. Sorry, not Vin Montello. Vin Montello is a
Yeah,
copywriter.
don't be shaming him, dude.
No, I'm
So
not.
from somebody told me this story. I don't know all the facts, that they told me that he was doing so many transactions a day that it just made more financial sense for him to buy the bank to keep his transaction costs down.
Well, that's
Jesus
'cause he was running
Christ.
porn traffic, and
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
he was telling me a story about how they had to go to overseas, and I'm probably gonna get this way wrong as far as the actual numbers, but it was like, yeah, man, we go over here, they can accept 5% chargebacks. I was like, 5%. I was like, what are the fees? He's like, yeah, don't ask. But I mean, and I'm sitting here going, well, hold on. Don't they, whatever this merchant account is or whatever, don't they play by the same rules that, I mean, Visa is Visa, right? And so I still like, to this day, don't necessarily understand how that worked, but I know for a while, like, people were, running, super high mids, as far as chargebacks and stuff. I mean, 3-4%, and it was just rolling, right? I mean, they're paying for it.
Do you think the business is changing? I mean, we've been doing this. It's interesting. Like, I kind of woke up a few years ago after getting through my mental health issue and was like, oh my God, suddenly I'm one of the OGs. Like me and you, the three of us, we've been around.
To answer
we're the old
question
guys.
For a few minutes ago, dude, we met in person for the first time in 2008, early 2008. Mm-hmm. So was that like almost 15 years ago?
Yeah. 14, 15 years.
It's a long time.
It is.
Oh yeah. First time I met Josh, it turned into a shit show literally within 5 seconds.
Every time
I don't believe that. No, that doesn't sound right.
Well, no, that's because like all of a sudden you had some crazy ass story that's just unbelievable. Like, and you kept telling these stories that were unbelievable. I'm like, this motherfucker, I don't even know. And then I hung out with you one time. I was like, I believe everything you say. Like every story came back into context. I was like,
he's got, Josh has some really good stories. It's true. Some pretty crazy.
I mean,
and then we hung out more and more and more, and it just,
and now you're in love.
Just turns just
beautiful to watch.
Insanity. Yeah. No, we're.
Hey, Brad, here's a question for you. I'm just to steer this a little bit as we go.
Oh, we're steering. Okay.
How do you think it's easy or hard to make real friendships in this business? Do you think it's easy or hard to find people that like you really connect with, or do you think it's more difficult because people just kind of got an agenda? Especially because we've all reached pretty reasonable levels of success, but you've gotten to a point of obscenely successful as far as the Clickbank stuff goes. And I know when I was really just like making millions of dollars a year and shit, I got to the point I could barely trust anybody.
Hold on, time out. I was just making $1 million.
Yeah, totally right. When that was all that was happening. Yeah. Like, have you guys had experiences in your business career where like success has turned into a negative as far as being taken advantage of, as far as dealing with your personal life or anything like that?
Oh yeah, no, I mean, that always going to happen and I think it depends on your personality. I was thinking about this the other day. I mean, most people either, they have, they're either pit bulls or you're more of a golden retriever.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm more of a golden retriever. That's just what works for me. Even in the deals I make and things like that. Like I don't screw anybody. Where there's other people that's like, fuck them. Like there's other businesses, there's other this. But I mean, for some reason, that type of thing just always comes back to bite me in the ass. I don't know why. I mean, it's the craziest thing. It's like almost. And this happens, it's kind of been like this my whole life, where it's almost like there's this expectation that I should be better.
Ooh, interesting. In what way? What do you mean by better?
That I should be above the fray. Like if I start dipping my toe into, we'll call it gangsterdom.
Yeah.
Or I mean, it could be anything. I mean, even younger in college, and like when, all our buddies would get in fights and shit in the bar, and I'd be sitting back.
Why do you think that? Like, that's really interesting. I mean, I know you've got like an aerospace kind of background. You do have that like clean cut American boy thing going. Why do you think it is that people would kind of see you as somebody who shouldn't be getting into the thick of things? That's really interesting.
Because I shouldn't.
Because you shouldn't.
No, they were like, look, dude, it's kind of like some of these movies, right? Where there's like the guy that everybody kind of protects, but if he ever does anything, they're like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? But the rest of the people can do. So
sure, yeah.
It's like the Good Will Hunting thing. How everyone thought that Matt Damon's character shouldn't be doing construction, getting into fights, arguing. He should be above that.
Kind of. So like this is like when MMA really started hitting the mainstream, and this is like 20 years ago, but we hanging out with guys from work and stuff, and there was a MMA gym, like literally when people were hanging out, like Hoist Gracie would come hang out, stuff like that. I mean, all these guys were freaking studs.
Yeah.
And they'd be in bars choking people out, stuff like that. I mean, and then
just randomly they just walk in and choke somebody out, or what is this, like a Jack Reacher book? What's going on?
They're just waiting, right? They're just waiting. like for somebody to say something wrong. And then
I mean, you're paying a lot of money to be trained every month. You're gonna fucking use it.
right. And I mean, no disagreements necessarily there. I mean, we're talking about Chapel Hill, which is like, yeah, there's some people who need their ass beat there.
Fair enough.
But you know, the craziest thing was like I get in one like minor. I mean, and when I say minor scuffle, I mean minor. Dude, I didn't hear into that for like a month. You know, but them, they're like high-fiving each other. It's over next day, you know, all that type of stuff. And
But you're the one who can't have any fun. That's interesting.
I'm the one that can't do that. And so because they know, they're like, all right, dude, that's not your role in our group. You know, like we'll kind of do all this stuff. Not that I can't, but it's just like I don't know. I mean, I think over the years I've just gotten used to it that I mean, people expect a lot out of me.
Yeah.
And you know, and that carries a weight, which is fine. I mean,
well, here's a question. Do you expect, I mean, sorry, this is my psychology thing, whatever, but do you expect great things out of yourself too? Or do you think you're projecting that on other people? They're expecting these things out of you or what?
I don't know, man.
Most people I know, just like me and Josh, like, I don't think either one of us gives a shit about anything you do. We just want to be your friend. So
yeah. I mean, no, I like trying to do things that are very difficult. And so, you know, with over the last like 4 years, you know, we've been, you know, promoting stuff and, you know, creating products and things like that they're very expensive.
mm-hmm.
I mean, sometimes like 4 times what, you know, the competition would do.
Jesus.
And it's like, all right, well, how do we run wild with this? You know, and it takes, you know, obviously, as you know, back end income and all that stuff to be able to play that game, especially in this. And, you know, when we moved into supplement spaces, you know, when you got good products, people will rebuy.
Yeah,
you know,
hopefully.
If you're selling sawdust, you know, they're probably not. Right.
I got to tell you, when I'm selling my marketing shit right now, I am so spoiled right now because I'm so used to working in niches like $47 product front ends and shit and fighting it out on cold traffic and shit. I'm selling marketing and copywriting stuff, and it's the easiest thing in the world because I'm just like, here's all the proof. Here's all my friends saying amazing things. Buy my shit. And then they just buy more shit. It's amazing.
Because you made a name for yourself as one of the best copywriters on the planet. So when people want to learn copy, see that you're able to train them via a program or whatever, why not learn from the fucking best, you know?
It's nice, but it gets me thinking a lot about direct marketing versus brand marketing, right? Because like the three of us all came up in hardcore, I feel like hardcore direct response. Get out, you know, you guys were mostly in the male side of the niche. I was more in the female side of the niche of the relationship advice stuff. But it was really just go out and have a freaking knife fight about it. Like, you don't really kind of get into it.
What's weird is when we were coming up, it was kind of the Wild West. There was very few rules about what you could and couldn't say in ads and stuff. You know, nobody had a YouTube ad account that ever got shut down. That just didn't exist. But we, working in the same like mastermind group, the Seduction Syndicate, kind of had this self-governing sort of thing where it wasn't competition, it was cooperation. We helped each other. We genuinely wanted each other to do well. Because
we still wanted to win. Like, I still wanted to beat you, you still wanted to beat me, but it was like it's like we're on the same football team, but each of us wants to be the lead quarterback.
Right. The way I always looked at it was like, all right, I want you to promote me today. Let's say you have a list of 10,000 people. You're going to make X amount of dollars when you promote me. If you do well, and I ask you to promote me again in a year and your list is 25,000, you're going to do that much better. I'll make me that much more money. And now you multiply that across all these affiliates, tons of people, exponentially, you're going to make a shitload more money when you when you do a launch or something.
It's actually like somebody was telling me, somebody was saying the other day, they were saying that like with the economy the way it is, with everything, it's just the world as it is basically, and the idea that we might go into a recession, that a lot more people might try to go out there and teach copy and teach like, you know, make money from home stuff. And they're like, Chris, are you nervous about that? I'm like, no, because I'm me. Like I've got the credibility, like I've got the actual credibility instead of just being some other douche who just kind of shows up on the seat and suddenly says they're an expert and is going to teach it. It just bothers me.
I mean, you get to feel, you know, awesome about where you're sitting. You know, because, I mean, let's make no mistake. I mean, there's going to be people out there. They're going to, again, you know, for lack of a better term, selling sawdust to people, right?
Yep.
And it's going to happen, and there's a churn. But at least you get to sit there secure in yourself, knowing that if you find me, you've probably churned through everybody else.
That's true. Yeah.
You know, and so But I think that the difficult part is, and this is something interesting to discuss because I think this is the most difficult thing in marketing to do is to, like, if somebody has been through over and over and over through, I mean, they bought this product, they bought this product, they bought this product, they bought this product.
You mean as far as like trying to get into marketing, trying to get successful, like we all were 15, 16 years ago, being like, how do I do this?
Just as a general rule, I mean, in anything that you're marketing, it doesn't matter. Anything that where somebody's trying to better themselves, the hardest thing to overcome is that own person's self-doubt.
Yep.
Because they will, so like in your case, let's say they spun around, this guy didn't work, this girl didn't work, they didn't work. At some point you start to think that, okay, I believe this can work, but I'm such a loser, it's just not going to work for me. And I'm not going to do it because I don't want to verify and validate the fact, this loserdom that,
I have an adage on that, which is if you never try, you never fail, right? And so the reason a lot of people never try is because I think they can be like, I could totally do that, but if they ever try, they might find out they can't, right? So that's the terrifying part.
And that's a real internal struggle that we all deal with. Everyone deals with it. And especially, when I'm writing copy and I'm really proud of an offer and it finally goes live, if it crashes and burns, that's a huge hit to my ego. And for anybody out there that says that that's never happened to them, they're a fucking liar. It happens to everybody.
Hey, Brad, how many horrible failures have you had in your career?
Yeah, exactly.
How many bars do you want to talk at?
But if you're able to step back, and it's probably for most people impossible or damn close to impossible to do this for yourself. But if you step back and look at it from a bigger picture, a lot of it just comes down to accountability. You'll buy this marketing course, you'll try it out, you'll stick with it for 48 hours. And if it hasn't brought you any success yet, you'll move on and say, well, that didn't work for me. People get shiny object syndrome.
Yep.
They don't follow through and really put in the effort.
Unless they're paying you a lot. What turns out to be true for me, at least, is if they're paying enough money, they actually do the work, right?
Oh, so, no. I mean, so a perfect example. I mean, I don't do a lot of consulting, but I took on a client. What was it, last year? It's like I say. I mean, it ain't many.
Yeah.
He writes me an email and he's like, "I'll pay you $50,000 for 5 hours of your time."
All right.
And I was like, okay. But I was like, all right, here are the rules. Like, I'm not going to do any research ahead of time. You can present everything like on the call, like right here. I'll give you my like initial, because my thing is that, in these businesses is I have a hard time feeling, because if I give somebody some advice, I feel accountable to their results.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's hard.
I mean?
The problem is you don't have control over them though, right? Like, you're giving them advice. Like, I have students now, right? And half the time, like, look, here's what I think you should do, but I'm not the one writing it at the end of the day. They have to be.
This is why, I've soft retired from being a copywriter. I've moved on to fractional CMO because it's a much better, considering my level of experience and the clients I've worked with, I'm much better suited to provide value at the strategy level. But this is one of the reasons
moving on from being a freelancer should be the goal of every freelance copywriter.
Yeah, absolutely. And I tell all of my students, don't you fucking take a royalty deal. Don't. You can add royalties on.
Why is that? Oh, you mean don't take a pure royalty deal?
Right.
Yeah, don't stick around and fight battles that you're not gonna, because eventually all relationships end.
Well, eventually, yes, but no, the reason, all right, let's just say it's a big corporate deal. And I've got a good friend and neighbor who's been a music producer for 40 plus years, and he works with Sony BMG on just royalty deals alone. Great. That's an exception to the rule. But the reason I always tell people don't fucking take royalty only deals is there's so many elements outside of your control.
Absolutely.
And it's so easy to screw with those numbers without technically lying. You're skewing them in a way that royalty will get paid.
I always tell people, unless you like know the person super, like if I was working with Brad or with you, I would trust the deal because we've been friends for 15 fucking years or something like that. But I tell people, like, if you're going to take it, like, if you're going to do a job, do it for the money you get up front. Anything that you get on the back end is all gravy. Like,
I had a student that they were offered either $10,000 up front or $50,000 it paid off in royalties. And they said, I'm going to take that. And I said, don't you take the guaranteed cash. They said, but this is 5 times more. I said, you ain't getting paid.
No,
They
it's
did the work. They did a great job.
It's estimated, based on, and that's the toughest thing
No,
about this industry.
what ended up happening is the client couldn't send any traffic. They thought that just having a good offer out there meant sales will come in. If you build it, they will come. No, motherfucker, you got to invite them in.
This is a really important point, actually, because like Brad, like I get people all the time asking me to write their offers, right? They say, I'll give you 50 grand, I'll give you 100 grand or whatever. I very rarely do a deal because I've decided in my old age to only do things I actually give a shit about and enjoy. But also, like, oftentimes I'll have people coming to me and I'm like, I look at them and I'm like, you wouldn't know what to do with what I give you. Right.
Exactly.
I could give you the best sales letter in the world, but you're not Brad Howard. You're not Josh. You're not Chris Fox or somebody else I know who knows how to run an offer that it's really going to be successful and really make money. I think sometimes people underestimate the other side of the business beyond the creative part of it.
Yeah. Getting the eyeballs on the offer is, but at this point for you as the copywriter, that's the most important fucking part. If you're working to earn royalties, you need to make sure there's eyeballs on it. And if they can't do that, you're not earning a royalty. And then the other side is there's a lot of clients, especially if they're international clients, and even a lot of domestics, where they could just choose not to pay you. And what are you going to do about it? Unless that royalty is above, and I've calculated this before because I've taken clients to court, just to go to arbitration costs roughly $40,000.
It ain't worth it.
Just to get to arbitration.
Yep.
So unless the money that they owe you is substantially over 40,000, I'm talking 100, 200,000, $250,000. Unless you're with that, they can just choose not to pay. And what are you going to do? Cry about it?
Dude, is this like the anti-copywriting podcast? Like nobody.
No. Well,
nobody's going to want to be a copywriter after listening.
No, man. I tell people, listen, man, get in there, do your freelance, get your ass kicked, make some money, and learn. But your
goal on deals.
Your goal
I can tell you this all day.
Own your own business, or be a partner in a business, or something. Like long term, you do not want to be freelance.
You both know this. You can tell people this day and night until you can't speak anymore. Doesn't mean they're going to listen. The only way someone's going to listen is to go out there and get screwed over.
Yep, absolutely.
So, that's the big thing is that everybody who's a power writer writes for themselves.
Yep. Eventually they do.
Right. Because again, you talk about, what you were just discussing as far as, okay, I'm about to deliver gold to somebody and they're going to turn it into bronze or something else because the biggest thing is
it's like giving a Stradivarius to some homeless guy in the alley, right? You're just like, what's the point?
Yeah, you have to find somebody that knows how to drive.
Yeah.
And I just call it that, right? Somebody knows how to drive, somebody knows how to the ins and outs and can pivot and things like that. Because as you guys know, you put an offer up. Rarely is it just going to stay as it is. You got to test, you got to do all these things. Especially when traffic starts really, really pumping, where you could run damn near a split test a day if you.
And this is like people who are listening who don't know who Brad is. Brad runs offers that do 3, 4, 5, or more 1,000 sales a day. So these are very, very high level kind of things.
I was at Brad's house 11 days after you launched Java Burn. And you were just like on the phone with your business partner, like cackling like fucking children at how much that was doing before you invited the big affiliates and you ran your big split test, like just straight out of the gate. It's
high level shit. Yeah. High volume, high level split. Get a split test done in a day. The rest of us would have to take a month to do. Yeah.
And I'm no child either. I've earned $5s of dollars. So
yeah, we've had across, I guess, my history. It is now technically since T-Burn did it. We've had
amazing
6 offers that have done over 4,000 customers
sales a day. Yeah.
Fuck. Like Jesus Christ.
So Brad, here's what I want to ask you. I've known you for a long time.
That's like Coca-Cola numbers. Coca-Cola sells that many bottles of soda. I'm sure they sell.
Brad, here's my question for you, Brad. I've known you for a long time now. I think you and I we kind of went on a similar trajectory for a while there in different ways, right? Like I got my whole Michael Fiore thing going, then you had your thing going, but it took, and I think because of that, we've had a certain, like we're friends anyway, but we've kind of talked to each other about some of that stuff over the years. You struggled for a long time, right? You were in the relationship niche, the pickup niche, and I saw you year after year, couldn't quite make it work, couldn't quite make it work, couldn't quite make it work, and then all of a sudden, holy fucking shit, you took off. What do you think was the change that caused that to happen?
I partnered up with somebody who was willing to write what I was not.
Willing to write what you were not, or able to write what you were not?
No, I mean, you know, in the very first VSL, I looked at it. I'm like, damn, like this is a lot of my writing, right? I mean, it's just structured differently, but I mean, there's things that are cut and paste and things like that, but it pushed further than I was willing to push. But the crazy thing is that, you know, I'm willing to push further than most everybody else is in every other aspect, just not in.
I mean, as far as the operations, as far as the way you run affiliates, the way you work with I mean, even the things you do as far as when you're running at the scale that you are, you get access to things that people just don't otherwise, right?
And just aside from work alone, as a person, your mentality has always been more like beg for forgiveness rather than ask for permission. You run a lot of your life like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we don't have kids, you know. I live a reasonably low key life. I mean, we don't drive Ferraris. We got like 3 Chevys and a Dodge.
Yep.
You know, so like I've kind of
Brad's a North Carolina boy, so you know it's all about.
Yeah. I mean, we got go-karts and tractors and you know shit like that. But you know,
crashed your fucking go-kart going 1 mile an hour.
hold on. Who crashed it? You crashed it.
Yeah, no, I said I crashed it.
Oh yeah. No, that was no.
Into your mini tractor.
You should have seen the fucking mini tractor Josh was on. Oh my god. Oh my god.
So wait, so you were saying you think it is that you found Kyle, who's the guy who writes the copy for most of the things you do. Do you think it was just meeting up with him? Because like you are so insanely competent at the operations side of things, right? And it feels to me like for a long time you were trying to also be insanely competent at the part of the business that isn't really your wheelhouse.
It's not. Yeah, it's not my swing. I mean, I understand good copy. I can write good copy. I mean, I think the key thing too, when I talk to entrepreneurs or offer owners, I'm like, listen, man, even if you're not going to write your own copy, you need to know enough to know what good is. And you need to know enough to be able to talk to your copywriters about it and work on a big idea and work.
That's the number one thing that I have when I work with a client and I'm trying to help their business. The number one problem that stands in the way is they started out usually as an investor. They bought a company or they came in and they had seed capital and they'll never make it work.
Yeah.
There's a real like truth behind the idea of starting off working in the mailroom and over time working your way up to CEO, having done every single job and knowing what it takes.
Because we've all worked in the fucking trenches over the years, man. When I was in my 20s, all sorts of crazy shit just to get by.
I mean, I got a client right now who bought several businesses in the dating space, mine included, and treats it like an investor. He hires a brand new girl to work as the affiliate manager, but she's never done this before. She's got the personality for it. She's, you know, very outgoing, personable. And for her, relationships are the number one thing that make you an effective affiliate manager.
Yeah.
She's going to be awesome at that. He's provided her zero training, zero SOPs, zero insights, zero direction. Told her that she has KPIs, but hasn't told her what they are.
Doesn't tell her what they actually are. Yeah.
And said, I want to hire somebody, some foreign laborer, part-time VA, so that if she's not there, this person overseas can pick up those relationships where she left off. It's like, do you understand what a relationship is? You're doing literally everything fucking wrong.
Hey, Josh, while Brad is in the bathroom, I think, or just whatever else, talk to me about the fractional CMO thing. Talk to me about, a lot of copywriters, I think, again, like part of my thing is like, listen, writing copy for clients is great. Get your money, get your experience. But ultimately speaking, even if you're still writing for clients 10 years from now, you also want to have your own shit going on the side, right?
Sure.
Like,
so
the fractional CMO thinks is like almost like another way of approaching a long-term career in these things.
This was a long time coming. I didn't realize it until it smacked me in the face.
Yeah.
There's a new slew of these 20-something-year-old copywriters that take some course and are convinced they should go out there and charge $30,000 plus royalties.
It's amazing, isn't it?
I was working with it. All right. So I was working with a dating client 3 days ago,
Yeah.
and they wanted me to help with the interview process for copywriters. And this was a men's dating product, how to meet women. And the whole thing that this copywriter was saying was like, oh, we'll talk about how you could go into any nightclub and bang some model looking 10 in the bathroom and then take a different girl home. And I said, when you take a shit, do you have to lick your lips so you remember which end to wipe? That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life.
What the hell did I miss?
You missed a lot, dude.
I had to go get a new beer and drain the weasel.
Of course, dude. Of course. So wait, we were talking about the fractional CMO thing, the concept of what Josh is doing right now. Because again, you were an offer owner, you were an entrepreneur, you had a lot of your own stuff in guitar, in pickup. You had the Pornstar Sex Life thing for a long time.
Yeah, I had the #1 sex adult education company in the country 5 years in a row before I sold that company off. It was the biggest offer of its kind in Clickbank basically forever. Yeah. And there's actually an entire category of sex education now solely because of me.
Chris, did you see the trophies he got?
No,
he actually got some trophies. They're like this big.
Oh yeah, no, when I say it's the #1 adult
education trophies,
they're like,
they're not. No. So because we did a bunch of live workshops, there's all of these educational awards, and it got nominated for adult education, and it won it top in the country 5 years in a row. I've got a bunch of trophies sitting right over there that they just sent me every year.
That's awesome.
Who knew?
Because you had like legit porn stars in your products, right? They were like,
yeah, and they were all licensed sex educators. They were all like, their main passion was to help couples and all that, but their job was taking it.
Yeah. So, here's the deal. I just got to interrupt real quick. Who knew they were taking sex advice from a little bit more handsome Harry Potter?
It wasn't from him, dude. He was just the marketer. So anyway, Josh, talk to me about like you told me the other day, you're getting like 30 clients a month, doing several thousand, 5,000, whatever it is.
Yeah. So when I see this slew of these new copywriters coming in demanding big dollars with no experience, I said, I'm not fucking competing.
No results.
No results. They have no track record, nothing. And then I'm talking.
Marketing doesn't lie. That's what I love about it, right? Is like you're either good or you're not. You're good or you're not.
I'm not hating on any of those guys. If somebody, it's just like lawsuits and things like that. Like if you could shoot out I was just comparing. We're talking about some of the lawsuits I've been in.
Yeah.
But if I could literally just take a sheet of paper and just drop it in my neighbor's mailbox and go, hey, you owe me $100,000, and just drop it in everybody's mailbox.
Yeah.
And then people start paying me.
Yeah. I'd do it.
So it's kind of the same thing with talking about like newbies coming in and trying to command, this price. If they can get it.
Yeah, but also but my opinion on that is like you get it once, right? You get it once, and then you don't get results, and you never get it again. You're this. It's just like as big as this business is, it's a small fucking business, man.
Right.
Like
here's a question. Do you know who the #1 most successful one-hit wonder band is of all time?
Chumbawamba.
Oh wait, no.
The band
Come on, Eileen.
No. The band that wrote the theme song for the show Cops, Bad Boys.
Oh yeah. Of course.
Can you name that band? No one can fucking name that band.
I can't name the band from the Sopranos song either, but I like that song.
Yeah, no, but the Cops one, I believe I've read stats in Rolling Stone magazine. That was the #1 most successful one-hit wonder band in history. But I see all of these young fucking kids demanding the same prices I'm charging with and I said, you know what? This is stupid. I get on phone calls with clients, and the strategy I give them is worth millions.
Yeah.
Whether they implement or not is outside of my control, but I need to be doing something. I'm not competing with these fucking twerps. I've cut my teeth for way too long. I've been in the trenches. I've worked at
twerps. People still say twerps.
I just did.
I will say this. Here's the thing that I think is important that kind of goes to what Josh is talking about. I personally believe there is work that copywriters do that is worth more if you don't call it copywriting. right?
Yes.
Like if you just like the strategic work, the thinking,
100%.
the mechanism, the big
100%.
idea. Like so oftentimes clients are just like, well, you just do all that. And I even tell my students, I'm like, go back to them and say, fuck no, it's not my job to come up with all of the stuff. It's your offer. Let's work together on it. But
Well,
like,
number one,
if you call it being like a market strategist or something, you can actually get paid more sometimes.
That's the thing.
right.
I've never liked the word copywriter. One of my jobs before I got into this market when I was 22 years old was I worked in IT for 3 WPP companies. WPP, if you don't know, is the largest advertising conglomerate in the world. They own every major law ad firm there is, every single one of them. So I'm walking around the making friends there, hanging out there, literally 9 to 5 every day. And their copywriters are $60,000 a year commodity employees.
Yep.
And so when you talk to a client that doesn't know our definition, they pair you with this commodity employee, and it lowers your value.
That makes total. It's like if me and you had a concept of a Smurf being a giant, but their concept of a Smurf is a small blue thing. You say the word Smurf, they think you're a small blue thing, even if you're a giant. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
So I've never called myself a copywriter.
Yeah.
I
think if you like outside of direct marketing, like Dan Kennedy, I am Frank, like our really small version of the world.
There's a group of us that have the same definition in that group.
We know what that means, and we know how valuable it is. But outside of that, people are like I remember like when I was younger, I took like some class about working as an advertising copywriter, and at the time they were like, yeah, and if you're really good, you might make 90 grand a year. And I was like,
exactly.
So it was brand shit, wasn't based on results at all.
Dude, right away, when I'm dealing with work at McDonald's making that now.
These days, yeah, totally.
Basically. No, but like, so
you might get shot, but you can at least do it.
Yeah. Hey, you know what?
No, you're not a school teacher.
Hey, take the who's the quacker? The quacker.
That would be a duck.
Take the Aflac. Take the Aflac.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Hey, Brad and Josh both. What drives you guys? Like Brad, I know you've made a fuck ton of money, and I know you pretty well. You are not a money motivated person, as far as I can tell. Like you like money, fine, as well as anybody else. It's fun to have, but it's not what drives you. And Josh, I don't think it's what drives you either. I've known you for and me personally, like I get offered large amounts of money to do shit I don't want to do, and I'm like, I just can't do it. I just can't. I just don't give a shit. I don't care. I don't want to. So what, like Brad, why are you, and both Josh as well, what drives you to do this shit at this point? Like Brad in particular, because I know you could just quit if you wanted to. Josh, I think the rest of us, we actually still have to work for a living occasionally. Jesus. But what do you think?
I couldn't quit. I don't know what I would do myself.
Mm-hmm. Oh, come on. If you got bought out by your partners today, you'd be retired for life and living comfortably.
True.
Maybe not private island money, but
then he would just drink even more, and that wouldn't be okay. Then you and me, Josh, we'd have to stage an intervention then. So I think
that's true. Do you have enough money to go to Passages Malibu?
No, but here's the deal. Apparently, if you guys saw the Fire Festival Netflix thing, you can buy Pablo Escobar's island for $1 million. I was watching this thing. I was like, "Are you fucking shitting me? I could do it."
But you can buy the island for $1 million?
Yeah, and they didn't. I don't know how this whole thing fell through, but apparently they have this deal structure where they're going to buy this island with a landing strip and everything for $1 million. And I was like, "Fuck! I wish I had done that."
I wish you had done it too.
I remember when you were over here at my place, and it's like 2 a.m, and we're up, and there's other people here, and you're like, I'm gonna charter us a private jet to fucking Montego Bay or whatever you said. And you got on the phone with the travel agent at 2 a.m, who was probably sound asleep, charging an obscene amount. And I had to fucking hold you back from saying, yeah, because the number they quoted you was ridiculous.
Oh God, dude. Well, that's the thing, man. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, like I've only flown private once, and that was from going from San Diego to all of a sudden we're at TNC and I'm hanging out and somebody goes, "We should go to Vegas." And we're at some eat 'em up joint at 4 a.m. Mm-hmm. Dude, they have a fax machine. This is how long ago that was. Dude, they're faxing contracts back and forth at this fucking Waffle House on stilts. And like literally 2 hours later, we're on a jet going to Vegas. $5,000 for a 45-minute flight.
Wait, how many people?
Well, dude, don't knock.
Dude, no. Wait. Just wait. On the short bus plane. You know, it was like not something great. I mean, this is the short bus plane. I could have flew that son of a bitch. Dude, the pilot, he was like, all right, are you guys hanging on? He fucking
The pilot was drunk as shit.
Dude, I'm telling you, I'm just sitting there going, oh fuck, this is gonna be a shit show. And all of a
Well, I
sudden,
mean, don't knock flying commercial, dude. We all saw the video.
No.
Mike Tyson flew.
It's true, and he beat the shit out of some guy. Yeah.
dude, who would punch
Well, I mean,
Mike
I've flown
Tyson?
Spirit
Like,
before.
Who,
I'd beat the shit out of somebody
who
if I
would
did
do
guy.
that? Like,
Mike Tyson could be 90 and I still wouldn't want to fuck with him. Like,
No.
I would take Mike Tyson over almost any MMA fighter, especially
No.
after,
Oh no, absolutely not. Number one, he's not even the top 10.
So wait,
best
hold
of
on,
all
hold on. So
time.
Josh has actual fighting experience. Josh knows what he's
No, I know,
trained.
I know.
Brad and I
I'm
do
just-
not, but
I'm
Josh.
just going off
I've
of-
trained for years at Gleason's gym, which was Tyson's gym when he was coming up.
No,
I
I've
will
seen
let him
Josh just
handle-
throw a casual punch in the air before, and I did not want to be on the other side of it.
dude, I'm
I-
going off. I'm going off Ip Man 3. You guys saw Ip Man 3, right?
Wait, did you see
Dude.
Ip Man 2? Did you realize that Ip Man 2 is basically Rocky and the Karate Kid 2 like
Pretty
mashed?
much.
No, it's Rocky
Pretty much.
4 and Karate Kid 2 mashed together into one movie. Seriously, go check it out. That is like whoever wrote that movie took
Yeah.
those two movies and smashed them together and made a big American guy the Ivan Drago of the thing. It's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, dude, he was pretty close, but worse.
Yeah.
You remember? I mean, he was pretty bad, dude. I mean, it was damn. I mean,
I
they
mean,
couldn't
all
have
right,
made it
speaking
anymore.
of
They
Rocky,
could've-
has there ever been a more inspirational song than "Gonna Fly Now"? The one during the big training montage
yeah,
at the end.
that's a good song. Yeah, that made the
That
movie.
is the most inspirational song of all time. But all right, so what?
It's only
like I said,
inspirational
Tyson-
in the backdrop. Of,
Tangentially, just a reminder to those who are listening, we're all getting drunker as this goes on. Just so
oh,
you know.
no,
Yeah.
this is-
Well, I mean, Brad is perma-drunk. He's actually achieved perma-drunkness. It's
We-
actually quite impressive.
we promised a shit show. We will deliver.
This is a shit show. This is what it's supposed to be. So if you don't like it, why are you listening?
So, all right. So back on your
Yeah.
your question. I just like doing cool shit.
Mm,
You know, and especially if it's hard.
yeah.
You know, because I don't know. I like challenges.
I'm
And-
enjoying challenges again after not for quite some time.
Yeah.
It's nice
I
to
mean-
feel back into this shit again for the first time in a long time.
It's a pendulum. You need some days where you're working hard and figuring out a complicated puzzle, and other times where it just therapeutically you need it to be easy.
Yeah, true.
Hookers do that too, don't they, Josh? Wink.
I want to know. I've never been with one myself, but I've bought them as a.
Out of
As a-
curiosity,
as a
wedding
how did you guys grow up financially? Like, were you guys middle class, lower class, upper class? Like, what was the deal growing up? What did money mean to you when you were 12?
Dude, I was just me and my mom. I didn't know my father.
Mm,
We were well below the poverty line. We had to decide almost every night, were we going to have dinner or were we going to pay the electric bill to have lights on? It was
Jesus.
one or the other.
oh my God.
I, at 14 or 15 years old, was selling the template to make fake IDs. I didn't realize at the time. I found out when they got fucking raided. I found out I was selling them to the Turkish mob, but I was.
That's like
and then-
Julian
and then
Ray's story
I
about being a
strung on
fucking
them.
drug
I
dealer.
walked in there like Mr. Big Dick Slinger, and I'm just throwing down the law about you cutting off my distribution chain. And then I'm working for them selling fake technology, fake chips that I just made up in my head that I called the N11 chip. I don't know where I got that from.
Good name. Cool.
Whereas like I'm in the fucking South Bronx selling these cell phones, these Nextel phones to these drug dealers. And I could always tell they're drug dealers. And they would use these Nextel phones that had a walkie-talkie feature on them.
Oh, sure.
And I would show there was a code that any technician would know that you
Yep.
could punch in and you can listen to any Nextel phone in a 3-block radius. I said, this
Holy
is how
shit.
easy the feds can listen to you. That was a functionality built into the phone for repair purposes because these phones are meant for like construction workers and people working on subways.
Yeah.
And, so there's a utility behind it. These guys are using it for whatever. So I find these in Chinatown. I found these little gold-plated $10 stickers that they said increase your battery performance or your reception rather. And I said, this chip scrambles the signals. No one can listen in. And these guys would be coming into the shop, paying $1,000 for the phone and then another $600 for this chip in cash directly to me.
And the chip
I would
didn't
go
do
into
anything, right?
Didn't do shit. I
Yeah.
went into the back for a half an hour. I just hung out. I'd come out, I show them, they could open up the phone and they would see the chip in there. And that went on for a little while until the people running the shop started advertising this like a bunch of fucking idiots. So I left.
Holy shit.
And then I got involved in this charity called Dance Safe, where basically this was a time like right after Studio 54, which had recently reopened. Like there was just a lot of ODs in nightclubs because
Sure.
we weren't dealing with Molly. We were dealing with the granddad, fucking straight up ecstasy and
Sure.
a lot of other drugs that were coming into the system that people didn't know about. And so Dance Safe, which is still around in several states, we would be in the front and we had these testing kits and you could bring us your drugs. There was a police officer there. You had full immunity. You'd bring us your drugs. We could take a few drops of different chemicals and put it on whatever you gave us. And depending on what color it turned, we would tell you, yes, this is pure cocaine, crack, whatever the fuck, or no, it's not. We didn't know what it was. We just knew it wasn't the real deal. And then you could choose to leave it with us and it would go into a medical disposal box, which at the end of the night, the cop would take back to his truck, his armored vehicle. Well, of course, when something would be fucking pure and clean and the person still didn't want it because they just decided they didn't want to do this drug, we would have a little like palm trick where we acted like we put it in the box, but we didn't. Cop would leave at 2 a.m. And after that, everybody at the club that wanted drugs knew to come to us because we would sell them the real deal shit.
Oh, well, there you go.
Those were my first 3 jobs I ever had.
Quality.
Dude,
Hey, Brad,
yeah.
what if you weren't doing this marketing shit? Like, I know you were trying to be an astronaut at one point. If you weren't doing marketing at this point in your life, what do you think you'd be doing?
Well, you know, all these like hypersonic missiles that they're talking about right now. Like that's what my research was in. So, right.
Wait, what made you decide to get out of the aerospace industry? I mean, you got that Southern boy, like good looking, clean cut Southern boy thing going on. What made you decide to get out of that shit? Was it because you weren't going to be, you didn't think you were going to make it as an astronaut, or was it something else?
No, it wasn't about being an astronaut. It was about, being, designing aircraft engines and rocket engines and stuff like that. So like when people were like, "Are you a rocket scientist?" Like literally that's what my research was in.
Yeah.
But I got looking around and, I had the entrepreneur bug for a while, but once you realize that, I'm going to cap out at a certain amount. And then, if I can't get because we're talking about like big places. Like I was like NASA paid for me to go to grad school.
Wow.
So I was on, and they paid my health insurance. They gave me a stipend. I was making like $1,200 a month that they paid me to go to grad school. So that's
It's like back in 2005 or something. So it's like,
No, this is 2000.
Yeah.
But still, I'm getting paid literally to go to grad school, and we're not going to go on a tangent about like.
That's all right. Hey man, this show is about tangents. We just go where it goes. It's okay.
Here's my thing: is like, look, if you pick the right degree, people will fucking pay you to go to school.
True. Yeah.
So shit, where were we at? Sorry.
I don't even fucking know. I was talking to you. What did I ask you about? Jesus Christ. Oh, what was the transition? Why did you get out of aerospace and into marketing?
Oh, I just looked around. It's a bunch of dudes, and I was bored. I was bored. So it was really interesting. So I was the first guy in our state that was in undergrad. This was at the time that had an account at the supercomputing center. So I was writing code on Cray T90s and stuff like that. It's kind of old school.
Back when computers were rare, my friends.
Dude, it was crazy, man, because like you could see, like we would be running code, and then you'd see these huge weather simulations that were just like, like my code would take like maybe an hour. And on a regular machine, it might take a couple of days, but on this machine, it would take like an hour.
That's a good shit, yeah.
We're talking about months. This code was run for these weather simulations. A lot of people don't realize like weather is a big computer.
It's a very chaotic system. Like there's a lot.
Oh,
of
dude,
really
dude, there's I don't know if you've seen on Netflix. There's a series called The G Word with Adam Conover, who did Adam Ruins Everything.
Yeah.
But he basically he worked directly with Barack Obama to create this thing where he basically uncovers all these areas where government oversight happens. and one of them is on weather. And he goes into an airplane that every day, all they do back and forth is just fly into the eye of the hurricanes.
Oh, wow.
And they will do this in a cloverleaf pattern over and over and over until they are out of fuel. And then they return, another plane will take over, they'll refuel, they'll do it again every day. It's crazy shit.
So they're just trying to gather data the entire time?
Yeah, the more data they gather, the more they could warn people if they should worry or not. If this storm is headed off coast, how powerful it's becoming, like all the stuff that's given to you when you listen to the weather on the news. That's what they're doing. I thought it was like some fucking Google Earth thing or some easy shit to figure out. No, these guys, and it's crazy to see how calm they are. Like, yeah, we're just gonna fly this propeller jet into an eye of a hurricane, back out 75 times.
It's amazing how human beings can adapt so quickly to things, right? Like, I remember like the first time I got on a zip line, I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And then the second time I got on a zip line, I was like, wow, this is really boring. This is really, really boring. Because
I mean, there's an old expression that something's only kinky the first time you do it.
It's very true. There's a South Park episode called "We Never Should Have Gone Ziplining," and it's true. Ziplining is boring. I love that
episode.
If you don't agree that ziplining is boring, you are wrong. Ziplining is boring after the first time you've done it.
Oh yeah, it's boring, especially when you get stuck.
Totally, you're just hanging there.
You're like a mile over everybody else. You're like, oh fuck,
I'm just here now.
I gotta spin around.
You guys scared of heights? Do you have a fear of heights thing going on?
I'm not scared of being high. I'm scared of falling.
Yeah, totally makes sense. So years ago, I went to Notre Dame Cathedral back before that got burned up. And I was there with my ex-girlfriend, Melanie, and a couple of people we had met in Europe and we're traveling around. And we went up like inside the cathedral to the top level where you can look down at everything below you. And like I walk out and I look down and I'm holding onto the railing and I look over and I'm like, wow, that's really far. And then I turned around and saw my ex-girlfriend now and her two friends all against the wall like this, freaking the fuck out because they were afraid they were going to fall. And it's interesting how like it seems like there's actually a genetic component to whether you are afraid of heights or not, which I always found kind of interesting.
I absolutely hate the feeling of falling, like when your stomach sinks and rises in your belly. I have a fear of experiencing that feeling more than anything else. And I've seen videos. There's this area in China, in Hong Kong, where it goes from a hotel, I think, to a mountaintop, and it's, you know, fucking insanely high above the ground. It's nothing but rocks and everything down, but it's a glass bottom bridge. And they've now upgraded to be LED or LCDs, where as you're walking on it, it looks like the glass is starting to crack and shatter under you. And people are crippled. God. They start to walk on it and then they just buckle and they're holding on to the sides of your life, almost crying, because this primitive instinct just kicks in, and they know that it's just a monitor, just a screen.
Yeah, but even when you know, this actually goes to marketing and copy too, right? Like one thing I really enjoy about selling in the market, the make money space, is that when you use clever marketing techniques on people who are studying marketing, they just get happy about it and want to pay you more, right? Like as opposed to being like offended in some way. Yeah, dude,
well, it's the whole. Like the easiest person to sell is a salesperson.
Absolutely, because they enjoy the sale. They enjoy the aspect.
But if you really have to lock somebody into a fucking room and spend an hour presenting to them and trying to convince them you've got a shit product. This is every timeshare. I'm sorry. I don't want to offend you. I don't want to offend Brad. I don't want to offend myself.
Josh, after all these years, you really think you could offend?
You act like but I'm saying like this I own a timeshare. Like
no. But this is also the idea behind every VSL and every webinar. You're going to get somebody to register and you're going to get their attention for an hour and a half. It's the same thing. They're just not in the actual room with you. And if you have to go through that much effort, what you're selling probably is not worth them buying it.
You know what the most relatable thing to a VSL is?
What's that?
Golf.
How's that?
Because it's boring as fuck.
Because you don't want to go through it, but you're happy you did at the end. Like what?
No, because you know if you go play a round of golf, you've got somebody captivated for at least 2 hours of your time.
Yeah.
Right, and that's kind of the thing. I mean, if you think about VSLs and most copy, but VSLs in particular, is, it's just open loops,
Yeah, a lot of them, yeah.
until, I mean, you're 30 minutes in, and then you start closing loops as you go. But the whole reason is because like the more familiar somebody gets with you, like the more likely they are to agree with what you're
the more they spend time with you, the more they get to know. I even did a sales call this morning for one of my courses. The guy was like, I don't even know if I want this, but I just like you. And I'm like, cool. Yeah, that's the goal. That's part of the deal.
I mean, it's the same thing with like, people that buy yachts and stuff like that, right? I mean, it's not exactly put out or swim, but kind of.
Yeah.
I'm going to take you out on my yacht, and I'm going to pitch you this deal I got, because why else would I take you out on my yacht?
Yeah. Because of the implication.
Exactly.
Fucking greatest sitcom ever. That should not have lasted.
Always Sunny in Philadelphia is what we're talking about, and it's fucking great, and you should check it out. Hey, Josh, if you could go back to 2007, which I think is before you got into this, before I think one of us got into this, what piece of advice would you give yourself?
Don't fucking do it. No, I'm kidding. Literally, the idea is to think bigger.
Howard, and that's it.
No, think bigger. I took the idea of niching down too literally on way too many offers, and I created incredible offers that only apply to a small category of people, a microscopic amount of people. Like a couple of years ago, after I signed what was the largest deal at the time for, probably still is, for as a copywriter, $1.46 million contract as a copywriter. And that was guaranteed cash. That wasn't royalties. That was just, awesome. This is what this contract would pay you.
A lot of cash.
I documented the whole thing. I showed it online. I built an audience of people like, how the fuck do we get deals that big?
Yeah.
And then I created a course where I taught copywriters how to sign better deals, create better deal structures, negotiate better, all that. And it did 6 figures 3 weeks after I announced it in a small group of, I don't know, 200 people.
Not bad.
And then I realized I tapped the market.
Yep.
That's it. I was done.
Yep.
There's still a couple of people that'll straggle in from here and there, but, and I looked back at my other offers and I realized most of them were for similar sized audiences. I didn't just niche down. I niched down 8-fold.
Yeah. You went too far down.
Right. That would be the thing that
it's interesting trying to figure out that balance, right? Because like right now I'm selling to copywriters, I'm selling to offer owners, selling to some media buyers.
The second thing is to focus on the back end much more than the front end.
Absolutely.
If my end goal is to sell you on a, I don't know, $25,000, $50,000 training, $200 a month continuity, whatever the fuck it is, I know I stand to make the most amount of money by getting you to buy the very last back offer. I should spend my energy figuring out how to get you over that hump. It's easy to sell people in the front end.
I wouldn't say it's easy, but
no, it absolutely is.
It's easy to sell somebody an upsell. That's relatively easy because they've already decided they're buying.
It depends on price point. So like I was texting you guys earlier.
Let me cut this off.
Go for it.
It's not price.
By the way, Brad, with the sun like setting behind you there, it's a very artistic image right now on the screen. It's good.
It's a little Renaissance photo.
It's filtering through the curtains and kind of this. It's a beautiful thing.
Every once in a while, the sun shines on a dog's ass, right? But no, I mean, here's the thing. It's like I can agree with what Josh is saying.
Yeah.
But it depends on the traffic sources you have. Like if you're working power paid traffic, it's front end, and then like you got.
What do you mean by power paid traffic? You just mean like you're really running the margins really close, or what do you mean by that?
If you're running like anything you're paying for as far as traffic, not affiliate or referred email at all. If you're paying for traffic, that person that comes in to buy is most likely an impulse buyer. So on the back end, they're not going to be worth as much. And so you can't.
So you mean they're not warmed up enough to be like, they're not, if somebody buys a $47, $37, $27 front end.
Next one. There's
Yeah.
that's why on the back end a lot of times it's you try to escalate people, but there's a whole other row of people that you're just trying to sell other stuff to
Yep.
that's like and similar at the same price, like like begets like, right? But that's the thing is I've been in both models where if you have something that's not getting a lot of traffic, this a ton of like super, not even super referred, but if it's if the traffic quality is better, then your back end is much more robust. I mean, it just is. But if you're if you're getting, I just call it power traffic.
Yeah.
If you're
getting, that's a good name for a product. Power Traffic by Brad Howard. I could sell that. I could sell that in my sleep.
Power Traffic by Power Bottom.
Dude, Facebook traffic is only slightly better than porn traffic as far as like what happens after the sale.
Interesting.
Yep. And porn is the worst traffic ever.
It's really bad traffic. Those people are interested in getting off, not paying you anything. Yeah.
If they click on your ad, it's by accident.
I'm not saying that I've ever watched porn, but I have, and I have never clicked on an ad on a porn site. Yeah.
The reality is when you're running porn traffic, you have to assume that everybody's using their left hand or their non-dominant hand to use the mouse. And if they clicked on your ad, it's by accident. So for you to capture their attention and then eventually get them to take out their credit card is such a goddamn uphill battle.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the thing, right? Is like, even though somebody buys something, that doesn't mean that they're in the same position as a buyer. I mean, where they come from matters, what their prior beliefs are, how they've been led into the system, all that stuff matters. So, a lot of people that they'll create funnels and they do numbers and things like that. And my worst pet peeve is somebody's like, well, if I just increase this, then everything else should naturally increase.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
If you change, hold on, Josh, if you change the context of a landing page or something like that, and you get more click conversions and things like it does not necessarily mean that everything else is going to follow.
So by context, you mean where they're coming to the page from? For instance, like if they're getting organic traffic versus paid traffic versus YouTube video versus whatever.
Affiliate traffic.
It's all old Gary Halbert, right? It's like, give me a hungry crowd. If you have a hungry crowd, your back end is massive. It is massive. I remember hold on.
Go on. Sorry.
Let me finish.
No, I remember when we were doing Adonis and Venus early on before we started super power traffic.
So Adonis was your product that was for men who wanted to get into shape that women find attractive, and Venus was the opposite.
Yeah, dude, our average customer value was $500.
Jesus.
Wow.
Put that same base funnel, but just with a VSL in front of it.
Yeah.
It shrunk to like 100. I mean, everything else on the back was the same. Everything
just because of the hunger of the audience or the type of traffic you were getting. I remember back in the day, actually, when I was freelancing, I remember being at like a thing in Vegas, and some guy asked me what my conversion rates were, and I was like, off what traffic? Like, what what number am I supposed to give you right now?
Yeah.
Like,
how much is the price of tea in China?
Yeah. I'm like,
I just make shit up now.
Yeah. I'm like, what does that mean? Like,
because I'm like, am I going to tell you that? Okay. It can range from anywhere from $1 to 25.
Yeah.
What does that do for me? It does not jack shit, right? It
doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
When I approach an offer these days, and it took me a while to really get here, I imagine who the customer avatar is, who is buying it. And then I like to imagine them laying in bed, unable to sleep because they're grinding their teeth so hard that they bust a tooth and they need to wake up and get an emergency crown put in.
Yeah.
What is it that stressed them out to the point where they needed that minor oral surgery?
Probably watching
right. I work backwards from there and I figure out what exactly was the stress, because it's not, I'm overweight. If I'm selling a weight loss thing, that's not it. It's everything that affects them in life. It's the fact that when they're sitting in a seat that reclines back, they have a hard time getting out. And when they're sitting in a seat that has armrests, they have a hard time getting into it. It's the fact that when they're walking down an aisle, people are looking at them, praying they won't sit next to them. They're an inconvenience to be
Unless
around.
they're in North Carolina, where everybody but Brad is really obese, but you know, whatever.
Right. Sure, yeah. I mean, Walmart is its own beast. They take those fucking troglodytes and turn them into customers for life. Like, that's what I'm imagining. Like, every inconvenience that this overweight, obese person. And then I remember I had a conversation with somebody when I was in my early 20s, and they were, there's a couple of guys in suits at a bar. This is when I had my first like real job when I was right out of college, and they're 17 martinis deep, and they're telling me nobody that's obese will ever make it past a certain point at a big corporation. Why? Because if you ever go into a boardroom where you have to have a negotiation or a sale, and there's another team on the side, they're going to look at you and they're going to say, you have zero self-control. You have zero self-control of your life.
Oh my
Of your
God.
decisions. You are going to die before you see your children grow up. You're going in bad health. You are a weak fucking person that's squeezed into everywhere. And as a result, you are the weak link at this table. And I'm going to frame all my questions to you because I can break you. And that's a corporate mentality. And after I heard that, I like sort of reverse engineered backed into this idea, like person can't sleep, they break their tooth from grinding their teeth. This is the level they can't reach because they're obese. What is the fucking stressor that's causing this? And how do I now craft the offer around those two ideals? Even if
Brad, do me a favor and check the chat and click on the image, because I can see your hands even though you don't want me to. And they are a black man's hands.
I don't have black man's hands.
Just click on the image.
Oh fuck! I see what you're talking about.
You just happen to match up with the like literally. I'm just like, I have this browser open behind me,
That's actually hilarious.
Zoom thing, and I'm just like, literally, it just happened to line up, and I was like, holy shit! I can see.
You're goddamn Ted Danson and Whoopi Goldberg's roast right here. Holy shit!
For those who are listening, somehow like Brad's image with his black t-shirt blended into an image on the browser behind Zoom, so it looks like I can see his hands, and they're a black man's hands. It's a thing.
Yeah. They are super fucking pale.
Yeah,
but that's how I backed myself into how do I create offers. What was it that you were grinding your teeth all night? And if you were this obese person that knew you were getting looked over your entire life because of your self-control issues, your unaccountability, what was it that got you here? And then I can start to sort of backwards figure out what this offer really is.
To that point, Brad, why do people buy weight loss offers?
To look better fucking naked.
I mean, let's talk about it. Why do people buy weight loss offers?
No, nobody would buy any, weight or body improvement offers if it made them ugly. Like
so that's a great way of putting it.
No, that's not even mine. That's Barvin's. He's like, nobody would work out if it made him uglier.
That's great. Yeah.
Like nobody's doing it for health. I mean, unless
and that's really important, I think, because people sometimes don't understand that. They're like, well, but if you're like literally, like I talk about this a lot in my stuff, where it's like you can tell somebody if they don't stop doing something, they're going to die, and they will ignore you because death is existential. Death is too vague.
Until something like that happens. So that's
and then they have a stroke, they have a heart attack, they have like diabetes, something real happens where they're like, holy shit, I have to do something about this.
Yeah, that's the best way to sell something is give somebody a fucking heart attack. We don't have that ability, nor should we ever want to have that, but it really is the best motivator.
So here's the issue. I mean, we kind of touched on, Josh touched on, I mean, you guys are dancing around the subject. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to bring it back to what we were talking about as far as like traffic sources and
bring it wherever you want, my friend.
The problem is that it's a difference between when you're advertising to somebody who's like clicking on something who has nothing. That's an impulse buyer, right? You're picking on people that have impulse control problems.
Ooh.
With an ad that is about impulse, right?
Mhm.
So you want to talk about the front and back end. If you are targeting people, this is what it does, is what the pixels do. The pixels find people, depending on where you place your pixel. You can place it way back in the back, right? To really get
Yeah, but let's assume your pixels are going to the right fucking target. You're putting that crosshair on that deer's.
No, you're overthinking this. No, it literally is like if you're running cold paid traffic, every single one of these people have impulse control problems almost by definition. Versus if somebody comes into your funnel where they've had a couple of touch points before that.
Yes.
So it's a little bit different. So talking about
Sure.
direct marketing versus the brand.
Yeah,
They both, so this, you brought this up earlier.
I did.
I mean, they work in conjunction. I mean, the way I look at it is direct marketing fuels the brand. The brand is the people that come back that didn't buy on your direct marketing and Googled you and came back and, you know, said, hey, I'm gonna buy this now. Like there's an actual percentage, depending on how you have things structured, that you can count on based on brand. You know, with your direct marketing engine feeding.
They're not just like candy bar buyers. They're not just walking by and happen to say, okay, fine, I'll go for it. Yeah,
Right.
They're committed.
Yeah.
And Best Buy, if you go through their checkout line, they always have a serpentine line, which is there's a shitload of psychology between having straight lines versus a serpentine line.
Like you mean like switchbacks, basically, where they're like you go one, like kind of like Disney.
Yeah, you have to go
World.
left
one
and
way,
right,
you
then
go the
left
other
and
way, you
right.
go one way,
Wendy's,
the other way. Yeah.
Wendy's published this better than anybody I've seen,
Ooh.
where they're like talking about you want to eat healthy. You know, you want Wendy's. You know, you want this fast food because it tastes good. It's but you also want to eat healthy. So all of their 50% of their commercials are about their salads. And when you go in there, they have these digital screens that alternate between salads and the Baconator. And on a psychological level, when you're in the serpentine line, it takes longer for you to actually get to a cashier. It looks like it should be quicker, but in reality, it actually takes longer.
Space, or what is it about it that makes that happen?
Yeah, I'm not sure. You're when you go into straight lines, you can look at each line and gauge how long they are, how many people are in front of you, and pick the line that's shortest. In this case, you can't. So it actually takes a little bit longer, something like 15% longer, 12%, something like that.
Yeah.
Negligible to most businesses, but when you're fucking Wendy's, it's that.
Well, no, at scale, everything adds up. Yeah.
Right. And so they realized that when they show you their salads at the same rate that they're showing you the fucking Baconator and stuff, at some subconscious level, you're going to feel like by the time you've gotten to the front of the line, you've already consumed that salad. You've had it. And now you can reward yourself almost like a cheat day kind of thing with the burger. And so everything's
that by seeing the salad ad and maybe even using the salad ad as an excuse to go to Wendy's
and having decided all night, because driving home from work, this is the only place you can get food, whatever the excuse is, you've made the decision you're going to this Wendy's. By seeing the salad this many times, you've convinced yourself you've already gotten the health benefits of the salad, and now you've earned a treat. And that's when you order the
connects really well to the phenomena. Excuse me, I'm hiccup. I'm drinking bourbon.
Christ.
I had them earlier. That was great.
The phenomena where somebody buys an info product but never goes through it, right? They buy the product and they feel like by buying the product, they already did what they needed to do to get the result.
That's exactly why I was just saying that 90-minute fucking VSLs and webinars, I really don't dislike the idea of them. It's just like selling a timeshare. But also, P90X came out and they wrote that less than 2% of their buyers make it through the first DVD.
Yep.
And it's like 0.2 or 0.3% of all of their buyers make it through the full 90-day regimen. Those are the people that are featured on all of their videos and everything. because they're super in shape. They've had actual body transformations. Because if you do the 90-day regimen exactly as they tell you, you will see results.
Sure.
I had a product called Bedroom Titan. It was a ebook.
Wait, bedroom what?
That I was all about. Oh yeah, you promoted. You did very well with it.
Titan with the T.
Yeah, Bedroom Titan. It was all about erectile
Not
dysfunction.
bedroom titan, like tighten something up, but like a titan. You mean?
Yeah. Not like.
I think bedroom titan was actually a more interesting product in a weird way.
That's
I of course the cover image was about, you know, tightening things up in the bathroom, and as well as a man that stood there proud like he was a titan himself. Of course, I went into that.
I kept it going. I'm so sorry.
Jesus Christ.
You guys cover things for a minute. I'm going to handle this.
Yeah. You go figure your life out.
Good Lord. He's going to leave us.
Yeah, he is. So Bedroom Titan was about erectile dysfunction, or no, premature ejaculation. I sold 30,000 copies of that ebook before I got the very first email from a customer saying, "Hey, I've gone through this and I think it's about erectile dysfunction. Did I get the wrong download link?" And I was, "Oh, fuck, the writer of this book wrote the wrong topic."
Jesus, dude.
And then I wrote another book about something else. I don't even remember what it was. I gave everybody a refund, but basically I told them it was about one topic, and I had one chapter of the actual topic, 11 chapters of Henry Kissinger. I just copy and pasted. And then the final chapter was about the actual topic. And I had a designer just throw a few images in place that look legit. And I think I sold like 8,000 or 9,000 copies in 2 weeks. And I did not have a single complaint or refund. I was less than a 0.5% refund. And at the end, I was just like, I emailed everybody and said, "I'm refunding your money because this was an experiment." I explained the whole thing. People do not go through your content. This is why so many info marketers can sell the exact same fucking thing over and over and over and just repackage it slightly differently, because nobody fucking does it or goes through it.
I've had people buy the exact same product 4 times.
Okay.
And
same.
And not complain and not refund. Just like that's what they do.
Exactly. We all have.
That's the difference between info and consumables. That was a weird awakening, is, you know, going from info where, you know, to you guys' point, I mean, maybe 50% of people even, I mean, we tracked logins at one point. It was really bad.
Pitiful, really. Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of felt bad for like what we were doing in a way, you know?
Yep.
But when it comes to consumables, as soon as that motherfucker hits, they're putting it in their mouth. And so if they're refunding, it didn't work. You know, like, and it's or
it's
maybe
a Jiminy Cricket thing. Like Geppetto was, when you wish upon a star, he makes a wish that comes true overnight and his puppet becomes a real boy. In this case, it's, I'm wishing that I can be thin or this or that or attract women, whatever. And they're not even accountable enough to themselves to take the actual pill.
So I'll tell you the difference overall. I mean, it's a very similar type of deal. So like if you've got an info product, right, and you're essentially prescribing this thing, people, like, by nature of people, everybody has a different life, different lifestyle and all that type of stuff. And they have to weave your info product in with their life somehow, some way. It's not much different than, you know, taking a supplement. You know, the only difference is you take your shot, and then you find out if, so instead of it, this is a really weird analogy, but so instead of having it where, okay, I can look at this thing and then I got to weave it through my life, and then and I got to figure out how to do it. Or you take this thing, and you're like, oh shit, this is going to work like this. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like one is a delay, and the other one is I take it now and I see, you know what I mean? Like if
People today want downloadable content.
hold on.
They want to buy something and have an instant result without
If-
having to put in the work.
if
That's not today. That's forever, man. That's
but
like,
no, yeah. But if people could take, like, if there was an info product pill, you would see the same thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like compliance wise, like it just ends up being like it's the same set of constructs around each of the consumption of this. Refunds are the same.
yeah.
You know, like actually, no, books are the lowest refunds by far. Physical books,
Like actual physical shipped books, you mean?
yep, by far.
People buy them, they put them somewhere, they say, I'm gonna read it, I'm gonna read it, I'm
And they
gonna
have-
read it, and they
and
never
they-
do.
It's
one-
great to have a full bookshelf in your home. You can see one behind me. I've got one in front of me that has 800 books. I mean, my mom managed a bookstore at one point, so I've kept all of her books
Sure.
as, sentimental. How many people actually read the books on the bookshelves?
Not many. Not many.
And the problem
There's
is,
actually
like-
there's companies that will sell you books by the pound themed so you can use them as your Zoom background.
I love Audible because I can turn on 2x speed and listen to a book.
2x. What's
Well,
wrong with you?
I can retain that information.
Dude, 3x.
That's
or
as
go
fast as it
home.
goes.
3x. No, it isn't. No, it isn't at all. Audible goes to 4x and I go to 3.2. So whatever.
You're full of shit. I will have to check that.
I'm
No,
not full
but
of
I
shit.
can
Audible
retain that
goes-
information.
Audible goes to at least 3.
If you guys are arguing about Audible, it is officially a fucking shit show. Like,
That was the plan. The
Officially.
plan was for
Yes,
this to be a shit
officially.
show.
We knew that was gonna, but
I'm
the point
still
is, like,
hiccuping for God's
we
sake.
are peer. Then figure your fucking life out, Chris. Jesus Christ, with the hiccuping. We're talking about listening to a book at exponential speed because we can retain the information. Do you know what level of minority?
why
we
are
fucking
we
are
even
about that?
discussing? Why are we even discussing?
No,
this?
because most people want to
Like,
buy the
it's like-
magic pill that solves their problem instantly.
It makes me feel
I
good
swear
about
to-
myself to say that I can retain information at 3.2x. What? I
Dude,
need
literally-
my life to feel
literally-
good about.
literally
I work
nobody's going to derive value out of this. Like,
Oh,
not
go
a
fuck
3.2x.
off.
Like, there's no value.
It's
No,
been
no,
an
no,
hour and a
this is-
half
yes,
almost.
this
We're
is
all
just- this is
shit-faced.
just
It's
me
fine.
All right,
listening
but
to
here's the
guys-
thing. We would have moved past that 20 minutes ago if you hadn't intervened. I work with
I'm
clients
sorry.
and
I will not
all
bring
the-
up another topic again.
No,
Because
please do. Please do.
I'm just a runaway.
I work with customers and clients every fucking day that their their mental state is like, I'm stuck as a stepmom and I'm not going to try anything to get out of this state. And that's so much of the population.
Well, no, dude. It goes.
Chris, I
exactly-
love the expression on your face, by the way.
My doorbell is ringing and my wife isn't home. I'm going to run downstairs. You
Okay.
guys maintain the podcast.
Oh
So,
God.
so many people know that they have control of their lives, know they have all of these options. And when they start to explore it and start to take matters into their own hands, they get scared like a child that lost track of their mom in the grocery store. They don't know what to do or where to go and they freeze up.
No, well, I mean, it's like what we were discussing earlier. It's not necessarily that people freeze up. I mean, I think people are willing to move, but there's if you have a problem and you went to different places to find a solution, you still haven't found it. At some point,
I've returned. Have you ruined my show while I was gone or what?
No. I'm
Oh
getting
my
back.
God, we've buried you fucking
cool. That's good.
8 feet deep.
I don't,
Dude, I was
don't
getting
mind.
ready to drop some
in
bombs.
Massachusetts, where insults are love. Like that's why Josh and I get along because we're both East Coasters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, long story short, the whole point is like if somebody has tried different solutions or whatever, eventually they're going to think the problem is them. So
Absolutely.
and that's just what it is, right? And
I deal with that shit every day. I'm sure you both do too.
No, I talk about this a lot in my own stuff where I say like your market fundamentally has low self-esteem around whatever you are selling them. Otherwise, why are they there?
I've had multiple offers in a row not perform as well as I was imagining they would. And it fucking crushed me because I thought like, I know this market. I know the customer. I know the avatar. I know the dichotomy. I know how to sell to them. Am I just wrong about everything? Am I unable to execute? Am I just not good at what I've dedicated my life to? Go fuck yourself, by the way. You set me up for you set me up for guaranteed fucking failure.
Hey, I gave you
so I don't want to hear from you. But that shit happens, and then you can turn things around and you can find that you're just targeting your offer, whatever, it's to the wrong place. What you're doing is absolutely correct. It's just focused in the wrong direction. And when you realize that and you can hone it better, you can really, you can change your life.
Yeah. Well, I mean, then that's not correct. I mean, if you're
fuck yourself.
Dude, I try all the time. No, dude.
This is have you hit the bottom of that shot glass yet?
It was so
That's one of those clever fucking insults I've ever come
maybe half of this bottle while we've been
That's one of the most clever insults I've ever come up with, by the way. I'm very proud of that.
You were talking, and all of a sudden Chris is just like, "Yep, I'm just going to drink this." Why are you talking?
I don't care anymore. Whatever.
So, anyway,
you can tell how drunk I am.
I don't know how drunk I am either. It's okay.
I'm gonna outlast both of you bastards. I've been doing this all day.
What do you guys think is different now than when we started off doing this shit 15 years ago? What do you think the main difference is?
Nothing.
Nothing? You mean like just like marketing is marketing is marketing, copy is copy is copy?
Well, let me put it to you this way. So as I'm just going to say risen up the ranks, the one thing you realize is, and it's almost like I'll give this analogy. I think it's probably one of the best analogies if people are familiar with it. But you remember like the Amwin mixtapes and all that stuff, and there's videos of people like trying to do crazy shit with a basketball, right? And I remember there was one that popped up. I mean, it was on Twitter, and I guess it was an article about it because I just don't cruise Twitter anymore. Where this guy was doing something that was just, I mean, he was traveling. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, it was kind of hot, and Kevin Durant replied, he was like, "This is bullshit." He goes, "You're learning all the wrong habits."
Mm-hmm.
Like
the fundamentals, right?
Get back to the fundamentals.
Yep.
And you're talking about guys that can literally do, like, you watch these mixtapes. I mean, I've seen them, in Rucker Park. Like
tomorrow, the night you met, you stayed up all fucking night watching them.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. I mean, these guys that are in the NBA can do everything that you see, all the trick stuff or whatever, but they don't.
Yep.
What they work on is the nuance.
Yep. Nuance
off the fundamentals. And that's, that's the only thing I figured out. There's fundamentals, and then nuance off fundamentals, and then black hat. That's it.
What do you mean?
My entire life.
I get what you're talking about. How does black hat integrate within that?
I mean,
and by black hat, we mean fuck everybody. Ethics don't matter. Let's get the fucking money.
I know what you're about to say, Brad, and what you're about to say does not qualify as black hat.
Well, let's find out.
Black hat is defined after the fact. You're about to talk about shit that happens before there's regulation in place.
Okay, let's find out.
No. I mean, I know what you're saying. When it comes to legally and stuff like that. I mean, most people aren't necessarily breaking the law. They're just doing something that is not presenting your offer in the best of light.
You mean as far as affiliates putting things out there, doing like, is research a scam kind of sites, things like that?
stuff like that, or ripping off other people's pictures and running Facebook ads, and I got to
fake testimonials, all that fun stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh good God, man. I mean, they literally like rip people's stories, from a blog and put them up, and
well, then you see that like Brad Costanza has had his like image stolen, and people like somebody made a fake face. Excuse me, I'm still hiccuping. A fake Facebook account and was like using Brad's image, trying to get people to send the money.
Oh, that happened to Brad Pilon. Who
a bunch of people just named Brad.
Yeah,
I mean, everybody cool.
Brad, you're next, man.
Everybody cool is named Brad. But no, I mean, Pilon, same thing. I mean, there was a bunch of scammers and stuff that were taking his picture, and Pilon, it looks like Jesus. Like if I can imagine what Jesus would look like, I mean, he is so jacked, but not like huge, but with a long. Well, I haven't seen it.
Like short, skinny Mediterranean man with long hair.
No, dude. I'll put it this way. I watched this guy one time. We were hanging out in Vegas out at Marquee at the pool, and he takes his shirt off and he goes in the pool, and the fucking
and it all turned to wine.
It stopped. No, it didn't turn to wine, but unless he peed it. But dude, I watched. I was like, damn, like the whole pool went. And I was like, shit, I wish I had that. You know what I mean? Like, I can show stop if I talk, but not just showing up.
You know what's really funny is that, like, having worked with and spoken with enough women over the decades, the show muscles are cool for a moment, but it's more the dad bod that they like long term.
Weird. I don't have a
because
I'm not changing it. I'm not getting out of shape just so my wife finds me attractive.
Dude, no matter how naked you get, you're always wearing a sweater. So you're outside of this conversation.
It's a full-on fur bodysuit. Thank you very much. Yeah. I'm Lebanese and Italian. What do you want?
Hey, Chris.
Yeah. So I mean, I've always said that.
I want to hear what Brad is asking, Josh. Hold on.
Okay. So check this out. So yeah, I didn't tell you about my ass surgery.
No, you didn't. Right, so, I had ass surgery.
That wasn't the thing you led with.
Cyst. Oh yeah.
All right. No, that wasn't the thing you led with.
No.
Was it a polynital cyst? Because they're horrible.
100%.
I had a polynital cyst years ago. It was fucking horrible. They had to literally take part of my ass. They had to carve like the whole fucking thing out of my butt. It was horrible.
And that's what happened. They carved. But they didn't tell me. So I show up to, I go to urgent care because I think I'm having a heart attack.
And you're just having a ton of pain. Like, where was the pain?
In my chest.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
No, this has nothing to do with the cyst. I knew I had that. I'm just saying.
My polynital cyst did not make me have a heart attack. So
no.
It was really uncomfortable and hard to sit down for a while.
I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I stand up, and like my whole chest is like doing crazy shit or whatever. And I'm like, I look at Lo, I'm like, babe, like, we got to go to care, man. There's something fucked up.
Yeah.
And this has happened a couple of times. And I don't know, they're trying to call it like, it's something like invisible acid reflux. Anyway, so I'm like, hey, man. So
acid reflux or ass reflex?
I think it's acid.
Damn, Josh, damn. So, Jesus Christ. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, hey, dude, by the way, while I'm here, you mind looking at my ass? I got this thing, and I'm just like, and it is. It's like,
cysts suck, dude. They're horrible.
Dude, it was the craziest thing. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but he's like, all right, well, we'll put you on antibiotics. I'm like, I am taking antibiotics.
All right, so hold on. Let me just give background. So a polynital cyst is a thing that happens on your butt. They actually call it Jeep disease because back during World War I, it would happen a lot because
that's exactly
soldiers would be hanging out in the back of these trucks and they're bouncing on these like.
And the way you sit. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so eventually it would cause friction, and then like basically it's almost like a really advanced, horrifying ingrown hair.
Ingrown hair. Yeah. Basically.
So I got one years ago from doing CrossFit or some shit like that or whatever. Brad got his whatever, but it's actually fucking horrible.
So
I would love to go to like somebody that has an art history degree and be like, "Oh, you're a doctor of art history. Hey, do you mind taking a look at my ass?"
Yeah. Dude,
Anyway.
so long story short, there's two things. The first is I literally have a prescription to get my ass waxed.
You're like
Prescriptive ass
1% as hairy as I am. I've seen you with your shirt off many times. Like,
I'm
there's
not,
not a lot
no.
going on.
I mean, I thought
Dude, I was in the hot tub with him when he was naked, and I had no idea for hours.
So here's the funny. What? That's because ass cheeks clamp. But dude, like they put you on this thing that's like a sex wedge, right? And then they amp it up. And so your brown eye, you look at their eyes, they got brown eyes. So brown eye to brown eye, right? And dude, all of a sudden there's just women coming in, like looking at your ass. Right. There's got to, I shit you not, there's probably, well, now that I'm going to get my ass waxed, it's probably going to be now at least 23 women that have seen my butthole.
No, fair enough.
You know? And after the first one,
I don't know.
here was the funny thing is because I'm sitting there, I'm like, God damn, this is so, oh. And then after the first one, I forgot. I went to the emergency room after my surgery because I was bleeding on my ass, which is nuts. Dude, I was bleeding.
I got my surgery while I was in Florida getting Lyme disease treatment, so I was miserable in every fucking possible way.
Dude, so we show up the ER because we call a doctor like, oh, go to the ER. That's where they push everybody. And I'm sitting in this wheelchair. I mean, I'm sitting in blood. It's
shit.
So we've been there a while. Loretta makes some phone calls to some important people at Duke, and so I get shoved in. And I shit you not, man. Every doctor was a woman. Every nurse was a woman. I mean, they're spreading my shit, and I'm just sitting there going, "Oh my!"
They're all trying to tell the future by staring at your.
Yeah, and then the funny thing is, you remember the elbow game? Like when you you close your eyes and you like somebody like does circles on your elbow or up your arm until you try to figure out where.
Oh sure, yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like trying. Yeah. It's basically old school. Like you're an inch away. You feel like this, dude. That's what it felt like. I mean, even though they were above, it felt like that, and I was just like, oh God. But after that emergency room, I was like, dude, I totally understand old dudes, man.
Yeah,
like,
true.
It's like, fuck it now, fuck it.
I think it's valuable to go to, like, again, because I had my Lyme disease shit, my car wreck, whatever else. I know very well what it's like to be 75 years old at this point in my life. And it sucks. I'm not in a rush.
Dude, I never felt more vulnerable in my life. Yep. You know what I mean? And I've been in some shit.
But as a guy, but especially as a guy, like feeling that physically powerless is pretty goddamn harrowing.
No, dude. Here's where it got really bad. So as my ass is jacked up in the air on this first quote unquote console, all of a sudden the lady goes, "You mind if we take a picture for your file?" Dude,
is that your mugshot now, Brad, or what?
I literally recently was working with somebody who is doing basically making bidets or working in companies that make them. And I said, you know what we need is let's grab a photo of your asshole and use that to unlock your iPhone so you can get on social media.
Dude, that is
getting arrested and telling the cops the only way to unlock your phone is to like show it your
spread
ass.
My cheeks.
Yeah.
Dude, that actually might be one of the best ideas ever. So then all of a sudden, you take it when it's furry and then you shave it and you're like, oh, you can't get me now, bitch.
Can you get more personal recognition than that?
Maybe, but yeah,
probably, unless it's an actual shot of the inside of your colon. I don't think you could.
Yeah, no, dude, it was like I say, this is some like crazy shit, and I'm just sitting there because here's how it went down. I was like, all right, I go to urgent care. He puts me on antibiotics for 10 days, which I haven't taken antibiotics in years. So I mean, it just fucked me all to hell. And then like it didn't help. So we go to the specialist, which is in the cancer center, which is a fun place. And they're like, all right, well, no, I mean, after I'm already jacked up, they're like, well, we could do it like 3 months from now, or we could do it tomorrow. I'm like, well, dude, let's go tomorrow. Dude, they didn't fill me in. They didn't fill me in on shit. So
wait, did you get like fully anesthetized? Like I got knocked out for mine. I got like knocked
out.
Dude,
me too. So yeah. I'm sitting there. I'm thinking they're just going to take like a razor, like
No. I thought that too. I thought it was going to be like a minor outpatient.
And then you need somebody to pick you up.
No, they literally take an ice cream scoop and take your butt out. It's horrible.
That's
like,
pretty much what
this is a marketing show, but this is what we're talking about because we're drunk.
I had an endoscopy where they stick a camera down your throat, but they knock you out for that. And they're like, yeah, you'll be fine after 4 hours. You have to have somebody pick you up, and you're not good for 12 hours. No, you can barely stand.
All right. So they knocked you out, Brad. What happened then?
Oh, well, no, here's the thing. So before that, and I'm all like happy-go-lucky. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get this knocked out. Like,
no big deal.
It's not a problem. I mean, it's gonna get there, but this isn't a big thing. And so, they don't give me any heads up on what the recovery is gonna be like for this. I'm thinking just like you. Yep. I'm going in, going out. They're gonna do locals, do the thing, no big deal. Once they started talking about tracheing me,
yeah, they do that. What they were
going
to poke a hole in your throat. What?
No, we're not tracheing.
No, they're putting the tube down your throat. Yeah, that's what they do as part of this thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, what? The funniest thing was, so I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, the one guy comes in. He's like, oh yeah, we're gonna get you feeling real good in just a little bit. And all I could think about was like, this guy don't belong here, man. He's just some dude that just rolled in, right? And it's like, yeah, we gonna get you hooked up real good. So I go in there, and I remember like they flipped me over, and it's again ass crack.
Yep.
And like fentanyl.
Fentanyl is quite a drug. I mean, don't take it in your regular drug because it will kill you. But in
fentanyl,
under a doctor's prescription, sure.
Everything was done proper.
Yep.
This is exactly what we were talking about earlier. Before this,
here's our public service announcement: test your drugs because fentanyl is in everything, and it will kill you.
Pretty much. So here's a couple of funny things. So as soon as they wheeled me in, and Loretta's beside me, and I woke up, and I was like, "Woo! Let's get a
nature boy Ric Flair over here."
No. I was like, "Woo! We're going to Vegas, baby. Let's get a jet right now." And I don't remember this, but apparently like everybody in the whole place is just falling out laughing. But that was the thing. Then they come in, they're like, oh yeah, this is going to be an 8-week recovery. I mean, what do you mean 8 weeks? Oh yeah, you're not going to be able to really walk around or sit down or anything like that.
You have to sit on the donut, like the big yellow donut?
Oh, dude, I was like, for the first week, I just laid down.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, I have a laptop, and, doing
my mom came down from Massachusetts to Florida to take care of me after I had my ass surgery. I was very
it was crazy. Like, and the worst part about it is, didn't tell us this either, but yeah, they don't sew that shit up.
Yep.
Like
they pack it. Well, I can't believe this show has turned into us talking about ass surgery, but I guess it has. So there you go. An hour and 40 minutes in, it's the ass surgery show.
No, I mean,
I had fucking laser eye surgery.
Yeah.
I didn't get LASIK. I got its cousin, PRK, which basically
Same
like
thing.
For people, I've always said,
just so people are listening, Josh is wearing glasses right now.
Yeah. I only wear them when I'm in front of the computer or reading something.
Okay, but fair enough. He's going to talk about his eye surgery. He's wearing glasses right now.
So I wore glasses my entire fucking life because I had a horrible, abusive, violent father who literally held my eyes into a Xerox machine and just Toronto, my corners were scorched. I had
You
19
were saying before
surgeries
you
in
didn't
my
know
eyes
your
before
father.
I
It
was
turns out
7
that's
years
a good
old.
thing. Like, Jesus Christ, that guy sounds like a douche. My
Yeah.
family-
No, I had 19 eye surgery. I was legally blind for 2 years.
Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
I
Sorry.
get
this makes all the sense in the world now.
I get I'll talk to you guys offline about this shit, but so I go and I get the LASIK eye surgery, the PRK. Unlike LASIK, PRK is reserved for people that have extreme problems with their eyes.
Sure.
I'm both nearsighted and farsighted. That's called astigmatism. But I should be wearing Coke bottle glasses. So to get the surgery, they need to turn their fucking lightsabers up to max.
Mm.
And unfortunately, 55-60% of people that get that, what it does is in your eyelids where your tear ducts are, it seals them up for good. So my eyelids do not produce moisture. So now I blink like a motherfucker. I look like a crackhead traffic light. So I'm constantly putting in eye drops. And they didn't tell me this until after it was done. And now it's starting to revert and my eyesight's getting worse again. And you can only have one procedure
True.
for the rest of your life.
My
Because after
LASIK
that,
is starting to go a little bit too. So eventually I may need to do it again. Or
All right, let's drop some knowledge.
Oh yeah, we're back to marketing.
No, we got to open loops and close loops and
Yeah,
all
we're
that
back.
stuff.
No,
So
we're back. We're back. I'm only.
we don't have an open loop. It's just like open drunkisms.
Hold on.
whole thing is
getting into
open.
marketing right now. If you were getting into marketing right now, 2022, say you were 30 now instead of as old as we are, what would you do? What do you think the best advice to do would be?
OnlyFans. Straight
Yeah,
up.
no joke. He's right.
Straight up.
He's
Only
right.
Straight up.
I'm kind of pissed I didn't think of that first, but he's right.
I don't know. Of the three of us, I'm the one who's really hairy, so I would get some good attention from the gay guys at least.
Fine, only bears for you.
Only bears. No, I'm too lean to be a bear, my friends. I'm more of a wolf from what I've been told.
Fine, fucking only wolves. I don't.
Onlywolves.com. That's a new website we're gonna start.
What the fuck? No, that's where the money is at.
Yeah, I get it. Josh, you raised your hand. Should I?
So hold on. Who was showing me today, or who was talking about today, about the one chick on OnlyFans that made like $50 million a year?
Was it? There was one.
Oh, the chick that was selling her
farts. There was one.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Amaranth.
But there was one who made a lot by selling her farts. Yeah.
So I mean, I don't think that was her, but apparently there's multiple. I mean, this one chick literally screenshot her earnings from OnlyFans, and it was ridiculously disgusting.
So I think it's really interesting though, because it's like you can see naked chicks for free whenever you want. You can see naked chick getting fucked in every way you possibly want, whenever you want. But people can still make that much money by not giving everything away, right? Where it's like it's
so
just another
the very definition.
The whole appeal.
The very definition of what we do, right? I mean,
the whole appeal is they respond to you directly. That's why cam sites took off years ago. And a porn star would be, yeah, I'm going to be doing these shoots for whatever the fuck.com and I'm going to be fucking. But if you come to
Brad,
my
will you
site,
buy us whatever the fuck.com so we can use something.
I will look it up.
so,
like think about this.
Subscribe to their personal sites because the actress in it would respond to them directly. Guys would feel like, oh, I know this girl, I have a relationship with her, whatever, because they would have a back and forth interaction.
It is.
Problem was that the webmaster on all those sites, and I know him, I know the dude, he took a 90% cut. And there was nothing these girls didn't know how to build websites and get their own webmaster and do this, blah, blah, blah. And they were also never posted on the big agency sites. So they didn't know what the fuck. So they were kind of stuck with this one dude and he controlled everything.
90%. Jesus Christ, dude.
90 fucking percent.
I mean, not that women who work in porn or eroticism haven't been taken advantage of for thousands of years.
Oh, they absolutely fucking have. And some of the smartest CEOs in the world that I've ever worked with are people that worked in porn and then became producers. They are that category is absolutely brilliant. So when OnlyFans came out, they could control their own destiny.
Dude, I mean, if you guys think about it, I mean, it's essentially, I mean, as far as like, especially info products, I mean, it's the same game, right? It's like, hey, I've got a gate. I'm gonna show you a little bit, and then you can pay. But you can find the exact same fucking information and somebody else online. If you were willing to look for it, you'll go. Or
people want to buy from a person. Like I was doing a sales call today with somebody about one of my
that's
courses.
what it is. Like,
and the guy was like, I just really like your personality and think you'd be fun to learn from. Right.
Dude,
like
I used to have people that would so you mentioned like the little dating business I have, which I wouldn't even qualified or trying. I just wrote experiences. But like, I was doing Adonis at the same time, and like people would come over to my dating site from Adonis and just buy continuity just because they wanted me to have money.
Yeah. I experienced that a little bit with my launch back in December. Like my stuff is really good, but I also had built up so much goodwill over the years, and a lot of people, I had people that are friends of mine were just like, I just wanted to give you some money.
Yeah, dude, I totally had that. Yeah. I mean, where you're sitting there and all of a sudden you see somebody buy your stuff, and you're like, dude, I mean, I'll give it to you for free or whatever. And they're like, no, that's not the point. And
I want to invest in you. I want to show you.
And then all of a sudden you kind of sit back and you're like, damn, and
it means a lot. It means a lot. Like for me personally, after coming through my bipolar stuff, particularly coming back and being relatively sane, and having people like tell me they learned things from me and got value and shit like that was very, very powerful, honestly. Yeah.
Nobody's getting value out of this motherfucker.
Honestly, I'm going to tell you, Brad, right now, I will guarantee you there will be people who will be like, that was the best fucking episode of your show and I learned so much. I guarantee you.
If they could stomach half of it.
Yeah, but they can. Like, this is my whole theory on marketing in 2022 is don't hold anything back. Don't worry about offending people. You will offend some people, but fuck those people. There's plenty who you won't. So it's okay.
There's plenty of people that I really love what they're doing and they love what I'm doing. And they'll say, hey, can we exchange services? No, the answer is absolutely no. I will not do a freebie. You're selling your training for $2,000. So am I. I will pay you $2,000 and then you pay me $2,000 and we'll exchange services that way, because I don't want to give my shit away for free. It's not available for that. I'm setting a precedent where you should never expect it. So even if we both know going in that we're going to break even, just the idea of you taking out your wallet, like just that idea means a lot.
It changes things from a relationship to a transactional.
Right. And in certain instances, that's what's needed.
No, I mean, there's a very delineated line between if you're hanging out with somebody and you feel it's transactional, it. That's when you feel like you're being used, you got resents and stuff like that. But if it's relational, like you understand that, you're kicking in for a longer, you know what I mean?
What's actually a thing when I talk to people about like networking in general, because a lot of copywriters particularly are really afraid to network. They're not social people. They're kind of introverted, etc. And I always tell folks, I'm like, don't go to a fucking conference looking for work. Like, don't do that.
No, just go have fun.
Just go have fun and meet people and get drunk in the bar, or don't get drunk if you're not a drinker, but have a Sprite, but hang out and meet people. And that will turn into money eventually. I promise.
We just closed up Affiliate Summit East yesterday. And the biggest lesson that could be learned from that was
Josh got COVID.
People don't like small talk. People today are more introverted, especially, because of your cell phones and blah, blah. You're more introverted. People hate the idea of small talk that doesn't lead to big talk. You meet somebody and it's like a few minutes of pleasantries, oh, what do you do? Blah, blah. You tell a couple jokes, you exchange a business card, and then you never think about that person again. That small talk never turns into big talk.
Nope.
And the whole idea is, well, let's get the fuck away from that. Let's figure out how to make small talk easy and take that small talk and convert it to big talk. I did more business. There's huge events where you're talking a million fucking people and I got zero return on that investment. And then there's events where I would take people outside Times Square, show them cool parts of New York City, show them the fucking awesomest areas. And we would sit together for a few hours and really get to know each other. And that results in tens of millions of dollars over the years.
Yeah. I mean,
one of the ideas for this show was to call it No Small Talk, by the way, because it was like, fuck that shit. Let's just talk about actual things.
well, no, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, most people like, let's, you know what? Let's go back to the most important thing in human life, which is the story, right? I mean, if you're a copywriter, yes, you believe in the story.
If you're a caveman, you pass your story through the story.
But here's the deal. Like, if you want to learn how to bond with somebody, like, I mean, there's always a vulnerable story. It doesn't have to be that vulnerable, but you got to tell a story where you fucked up somehow.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
vulnerable in that way, yeah.
I mean, and it doesn't have to be, but that's how all stories go. Like, if you're talking to your buddy, you're not gonna tell a story about, like, the story's not interesting. It's like, oh yeah, I did this and it was awesome. It was, hey, I did this and fuck, I had to go through this and do this.
It's more matter of factual.
And then
it's a matter of factual anecdote you tell. That's not a story.
So I'm still of the opinion that he or she that has the best stories wins.
Oh, I agree, man. Stories are everything.
Yep.
When I talked to people the other day, I was on the line with somebody, some consulting client or whatever, and the guy was like trying to show me his like clothing website, and he's like, "Well, what story could I tell about this?" I'm like, "Where the clothes came from, why you did them, did your wife create them, why did she create them?"
What is your story?
I only disagree with that because I think right behind the story is the relationship. I have not made a single dollar with you, Chris, or you, Brad, in over a decade. Not because of the story, because we're going in different directions,
doing different things.
It
doesn't matter.
You're missing.
We use stories to make. We built relationships.
But the problem is no, not the problem. But the thing is that it still applies because now within our relationship, we are the story. You know, so like you and I. I mean, we have great history.
And I kind of like because you just
for a long
sent
time.
me some money recently, but yes.
But you know what I mean? Like, I mean, there's stories and stories and stories, and the relationship has been based on stories. And for most people, that's how it goes. So I feel like and whenever I'm negotiating or anything like that, there's a story. Always a story. Always a story. Always a story. Depending on where my position is.
Even if you don't know the other person at the start of that conversation, but you're asking a question that dig deep and dig deeper and dig deeper than that, and you get that story out of them, you're going to find a reason that at a fucking base human level, you have an area where you can connect.
Yeah, and vice versa. I mean, you volunteer.
Exactly.
You volunteer the story because, like, you come into any type of business thing, like, people, it's just like, I mean, it's no different than writing marketing. Like, people are fucking bored. You got to grab attention. You got to, you got to bring them in. But you got to develop trust and rapport relatively quickly.
Yep.
There's no better way to do it than a story, and especially a story that shows you falling on your ass.
That is very true, actually. Showing yourself at your weakest moment. Like, people say, especially men, right? Men, like, I mean, we're all over 40 now. like men of our generation and later, it's like you can't show any vulnerability ever. That's like a, that'll make you seem gay or something like that for those of us born in the 70s. But in my experience, the more vulnerable you are, the more money you can make, the more people bond to you, the more they actually connect with you.
There's a trust. I mean, like if I'm on an initial call and we're going through like some scenarios and stuff like that, and I'm like, hey, look, here's why I'm suggesting this, because I did it this way and I bombed my ass off. I lost $2 million. I'm just not going to play it like that again. I recovered. Here's how, but you know what I mean? Like it's a weird thing, man. People want to know how you drive.
Mm-hmm.
I have my loan guitar business. My partner is a legit fucking rock star, and hanging out with all these rock stars that you work with, from Alice Cooper to AC/DC to Twisted Sister to fucking every rock star you imagine, Guns N' Roses, Metallica, Slayer, like it's ridiculous. They've given up. They don't care about the party lifestyle anymore. And it's so much more on a human level. Their big vice these days, the remaining members, is cooking. They have literal cook-offs. It's true. Like it's not like who can cook the hottest chili. It's like, I'm going to make this, gyro dish, this whatever Mediterranean dish, blah blah, and they'll then compete on that.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and they get to a level of friendship where that's what matters. And you and I, Chris, made a good amount of money together back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And there came a point where we stopped,
mm-hmm.
but our relationship never stopped. And I don't know what's going to happen.
It didn't affect it in any way, right? The fact that it didn't affect it was no change. We're just still friends.
No, it just, that was that.
Yep.
The transactional part was over. We stayed friends. Nothing at all changed. I send you fucking wrestling memes.
You do.
Like,
we talk about professional wrestling on a regular basis. It's a thing that we do.
Right, exactly.
I'm still planning, by the way, that you and I need to go to some AEW pay-per-view at some point.
Oh, fuck. I would love that more than
I love it. Like next year sometime, you and I are going to fucking fly somewhere and go to an AEW.
Before you move to New Zealand, yes, we are absolutely.
I'm not moving to New Zealand quite yet. It's going to be a year or two. We'll see what happens. Yeah.
Then yes, we're absolutely. But the idea is this relationship has a compounding effect.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And when you don't think about it as a work translational, like I mail for you, this is how many dollars I make. You mail for me, this is how many. When you get away from that shit and make it an organic relationship, end of the day, everybody makes more. Plus, you're much more open to helping me out. How many times have I messaged you and said, hey, I'm having a bit of trouble. Like, here's an offer I'm working on. And I'm having a bit of trouble kind of working out, like,
whatever it is. Yeah.
Brainstorming it. And you would just say, oh, well, here, let's figure this out together. Yeah. That shit's happened. That only happens when you're friends.
No, I agree. When you're actual friends, right? Because you and I hung out in New York 8 years ago or something for a couple of days. Had a really good time.
Yeah, but we also last time you were here for your brother.
Yep.
After and here's the big thing. After you came out as non-binary, and I made a few jokes.
That's an interesting thing, actually. So like, that's not a thing that was during my really bipolar phase. So it's a little bit less of that these days, but that's okay.
No, but you came out as non-binary. Yeah. I made a few jokes that in my mind were absolutely fine. To you, you were still in such a vulnerable place that they came out insulting.
Yep.
You happened to be here to see your brother, and we worked it out in person, and we hugged it out, and you and I became really much.
Well, that's what actual friends do, right? As a result. Yeah.
And
what
Brad,
was that look on your face, Brad? I just saw it.
Yeah. No, but that's how this industry is run.
Yeah.
It's not superficial relationships. It's actual relationships.
Yeah, I agree.
It's real relationships. I'll tell you guys a quick story. So when we launched Java Burn, we ordered
Great
like,
hook, by the way. When I saw that thing and I was like, put it in your fucking coffee, I was like, that is some smart shit.
dude, me too, man.
And by the way, how slow he's talking, I don't think anything's a quick story from him.
Dude, you're the one slurring.
You're slurring.
Yeah. Josh is like, I don't think I'm on me.
I've gone through 3/4 a bottle of rum, motherfuckers.
Yeah,
catch up.
I'm a good
Get on
halfway
my level.
bottle of bourbon. So
all right, Johnny Depp. So we took off, right? But we had ordered like 100,000 units, right? I mean, that's like 400 grand just to test, right? Just to see if it's going to work. Because I mean, it's like you got to have it enough to test. I mean, it's like no man's land. Mm-hmm. So it took off. I immediately put in a 1.6 million unit order. $6.5 million.
Holy shit.
All on a handshake.
Holy shit.
Yeah. No, I mean, but that's these things that we're talking about, like, bonding and building trust and, telling stories and things like that. They pay off. That was all on vendor credit. I didn't put that money up.
But that's because you knew the people for a long fucking time. Like they know who you are. They know that you're not going to fuck them over. They know everything of that.
Actually,
but that didn't happen overnight.
No,
that was a long time coming.
But it's this same type process, right? So like these guys, like, yeah, we had some little bit of history, but I mean, I'm not exactly a non-public figure in this industry. You know what I mean?
Interesting. You're known by the people who know
who should know.
But
right?
You're not known so much by the rank and file who are just getting into it. Like you're not out there being a guru, right? Like, I did not want to go out there and be a guru for the long time.
And this is Chris, you're kind of going in that direction.
No, I am, but it was an active choice, and it was also like, well, this shit I really enjoy and is easy, whereas working on offers I don't care about sucks. So why don't I go off and do things that I'm good at this, I enjoy it, people want to give me money for it, why not at the end of the day?
No, I mean, I think that's the one thing you start to figure out is, so like, with Venus Research, Java T, all that stuff, like most people don't realize is that we literally have an A+ team.
Yeah. Like, no, people are good. Your people are really fucking good.
I mean, like Kyle is he's easily top 5.
I would say in the niches that he works in, he is easily top 3 or whatever else.
I can counter that and say that of your team, of the people I've worked with, I can't agree with that, and you know why.
Ooh.
You can't agree with Kyle?
Anyway. No, Kyle's fantastic.
Oh, good.
Absolutely.
I'm the dirtbag, of course.
No. You know what I'm talking about. For the offer that I wrote, for what you set me up for.
Dude, that's what we're talking about. It's a totally different business.
This is what happens when you get drunk people on a podcast, by the way.
I know. Like all this shit comes out. Like I set Josh up and it just it didn't. It was.
By the way, this episode is going exactly as well as I was hoping it would. Like we were talking on text, we're like, is this going to be a shit show or is it going to be good? I'm like, it's going to be both.
It's going to
be something.
So, I mean, just to get to this point real quick, and at least in this business, like it's all A players. Like every partner, like Kyle is top of his game.
But you need that to make it work at that level.
But even though everybody could do it, everything, everybody gets in their corner. Right. It's like, okay, where am I the strongest? And this is
a really good point. Cause like one thing I tell people is like, listen, man, you're only going to be like world class at one thing, right? You can be good at a bunch of shit.
You need to be 2. So okay. I saw that. I think Elon mentioned this. But it was like, you need to be an A player in 2 categories and be able to merge those together. And that's how you merge. So like for me, I would say I'm a A- marketer, probably A- in tech, right?
Sure.
But the synergy,
Combined.
the synergy equals,
That makes total
something,
sense.
you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like, it's not
Like for me, it's like I'm good at copy and I'm good at being the product creator and being the guy out front. Right? Like I can
right.
pull that
And,
off.
and that also goes back to what I was saying earlier when I said the worst clients that I work with are people that never did those jobs. That just came in, they bought the company,
Yeah.
and they expect you, and they have no idea what the
daddy's
fuck
money.
it takes to
Yeah.
actually do that job well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what the problem is that most people just have. Well, no. I mean, this is a severe miscalculation. I'm not going to say most. I'm not going to say most people, but there's a lot of people who have. They don't take feedback from the front line well at all.
That is very true.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's where all the nuggets are. That's where everything is. I mean, shit. I mean, hell, half the thing is roll a product out,
Yep.
get the feedback, make adjustments based on said feedback. But most people won't even look in customer service or have them tell them what the
That's
feedback
true.
is.
Yeah, they want that's
Right?
true.
They're going to look somewhere else. And I mean, it's literally the gold is right there.
Mm-hmm.
And, and that's the thing is like most everybody on our team has permission. I mean, for lack of a better term,
Sure.
to just tell me straight up. If I'm talking about something, they're like, that sucks based on this, and this. You know what I mean?
But it's hard to find people who like, especially when you get to a certain level and you get to a certain level of quote unquote fame, you get so many people blowing smoke up your ass. The finding those people who can really like who you trust, who are going to tell you when you're being an asshole.
They've been here.
How do you know you're working for somebody when you tell them the truth and you tell them what's bothering you? How do you know you're not going to just get fired for the fact that you said that shit versus
you got to build that
being a yes man?
Yeah, it's a build. I mean, everybody that's been working, literally, I have no turnover. So everybody that is working for me now work for me at Venus. Every single person, minus like just customer service or something like that. People that roll over. So that's another reason why we get to run so hard is because like I've got people that know exactly how I make decisions.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And and so they have complete freedom to make those decisions because every time I'm like, yep, I would have made the same
They
decision.
understand what you're going for. Yeah,
Makes sense. They understand. So that's the hardest thing, I think. I think the hardest thing is to be able to give somebody the comfort to know that they made the right decision based on how we roll. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of people, I mean, it's a tough thing to give, but it's also a tough thing for that person to, take ownership of. It's like, hey, here's my spot. So like everybody in customer service, they're customer advocates. Jackie's actually an affiliate advocate, even though they're all doing their
makes sense. Yeah.
They bring things to me where it's like, okay, here's what this customer's saying. Here's what this customer's saying. Like they are right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the thing.
Yeah, they see it on the front line what's happening.
Yeah, but they have conviction enough knowing you to be able to tell you they are right. We are wrong. How do we
That's
fix
a scary thing for an employee. That's a scary thing to tell you that though.
Oh, 100%. Because most everything rolls from the top down. I like rolling from the bottom up, if that makes sense.
A good amount of my job is being the advocate for the employee that knows all of these truths, but is afraid to voice them. I do it for them.
Oh, I don't even do that. I just call them out. I'm like, all right,
no,
what are you
you're different.
Don't be a punk. Like everybody's talking. Like
you're different. You're a unicorn. You're a very unique kind of CEO.
He's a beautiful, beautiful unicorn of a man. All right, I think it's been almost 2.5 hours now, and we're all rather drunk. I am at least.
I'm not. You guys have been
I
chugging
am-
liquor.
Dude,
This is great.
you're a professional. You're a professional, and
I just want to see you guys like pass out on this. And then, look,
Motherfucker, you and
this-
I have hung out together. How many times
I
we've
know.
gone to what? And
it's like Chris.
are you going to fucking call me, ask for me to get that level
It's like
this
Chris-
early?
Chris Haddad's latest podcast is 7 hours long. in the last 3
And
hours.
the weird
is
thing
static.
is, most people would
Well,
not
like-
complain. They would just listen to it in doses, right? They just kind of
Well, like I said last night, there's gonna be the fucking Warner Brothers cut and the Snyder cut.
yeah, exactly. But the Snyder Cut's going to be what we release. So
Yeah,
I think we're going to
exactly.
finish up. Anything else you want to say? Any advice you want to give? Anything else you want to comment on? Any insults you want to give me or Josh? or
Don't
whatever
listen to
else before we go?
anything we just fucking
Don't
said.
listen to anything we just said. None of us.
No,
have-
no, no.
The biggest insult I could give both of you is that I fucking adore you both. I love you to the end of the world. I know
Wait-
Brad
wait
better than
for
you.
it,
I'll
wait
tell
for it.
Brad that you're one of my closest friends in the world. And Chris, I hope to be at that level with you.
We will be. We've been close for a while. We've been close
Absolutely.
ever since we hung out in New York, and I
No,
apologize.
we've always been close.
Yeah, but I
He's
was a narcissistic.
literally
asshole
come
for a
here
while.
just to hang out with me and party. So
Yeah,
it's
totally.
a difference. But
All right,
I
well, I'm
love
going
you
to close it
both
up.
to the end
So
of the
this has
world.
been Chris Haddad. This is the Chris Haddad Show. Thank you for listening. If you have any comments or anything, hit me up at chris@thechrisHaddadshow.com. Go to iTunes, go to Spotify. I'm drunk, and leave a review, preferably an insulting one. I think you should leave the most insulting, horrible, negative 1-star review you possibly can, or a 5-star. But don't give me anything in the middle. I want either one or the other. And that's going to be it.